You can hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. Perfect, man. I can't thank you enough for being here, man. I didn't want to assume you're coming from San Diego. I almost didn't ask. You know what I mean? I mean, I didn't ask, but when you said, you hit me with that, I'm like, yo, where you coming from? San Diego. I was like, you did not drive here from San Diego.
Yeah, but it's it's much needed, and I've been looking forward to talking with you for some time. But I make rare trips out, but when I do, it's always for folks that, man, I support what they're doing, and just, you know, it calls for me to take a little step up out the office.
Yeah, man, that means a lot, bro. Like, honestly,
Sure.
I'm truly honored to be sitting here with you, and I appreciate you driving.
Man, of course.
I normally start by like telling the guest how I became aware of them and doing all that stuff. And then we kind of ride that wave into their upbringing and what their parents do for a living. However, your time is too valuable to me, and you're just like too much a powerhouse of information and inspiration. So I'm not,
it's all good.
If it's okay, I'm not even going to go into that. So, but I do, like, anyone listening or watching, if you want to learn more about this man, his story, his journey, and all that, I'd highly encourage you to pick up a copy of his book. This one right there on the table. He brought me another copy. I'm going to insist you sign it.
I got you. Easy work.
And just Google the man. He's on Wikipedia. He's definitely out here. So feel free to jump down the rabbit hole. But just for you and I, for your own context, I didn't know who you were until the 2012 Pay Dues campaign. Right? That was 2012, right?
That was 2012. 2012. Kind of 2011 too, but it was for 2012.
It probably started in 2011 and then it spilled over into 2012, right? And I just, as anyone who was around and in the know in that time, I just remember you being absolutely relentless.
Yeah,
just relentless, and it's been really cool and inspiring, and look, occasionally a little discouraging to see how far you've come, and by applying that same relentlessness to everything you tackle, whether that's music or writing a book or entrepreneurship, social media, weight loss, like everything. Where does this relentlessness come from?
I think from a place of insecurity, to be honest with you, if I'm being really transparent. I think that as much as, like you said, somebody from the outside may look at it and say like, man, you know, how does he do it? Or man, what am I doing differently? It really was out of a place of sometimes desperation, sometimes, and most times it was out of insecurity of, is my skill set enough to carry me through? If that's not enough, then what other attributes and features do I need to have so that I can compensate for where my skills may lack? And for me, that was, I have no problem working harder than the next person, no matter their accolades, no matter who they are. I just am somebody that if I'm not more talented than you, then all I have left is to outwork you. And so for me, it was never a competition with anybody else. Of course, you peep game and you watch what other people are doing, but it was never a competition with anybody else. It was always the same race that I was running when I first began at 16, 17, making beats and rapping with my buddy in my grandmother's patio. It's just that obviously as you succeed more, the stakes get higher. So for me, honestly, to answer your question, it came from that place first. I say now there's a bigger attention to efficiency and how I can not only duplicate success, but teach it to others is a big priority for me. But to be honest with you, in the beginning, it was just like, yo, I don't think that I'm as nice as these dudes. So I better rap more so that I have the ability to possibly even be in a conversation of.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's probably the best answer you could have given me. I love that so much. And it's cool, like I said already, like it's cool to see you apply that relentlessness and just that mentality to pretty much every aspect of your life. I'm granted, I only know what you show.
No,
you know
it's
what I mean?
everything from parenting, because now, you know, for my son and to my marriage. That's one thing that can be, it can be a good personality trait, but it can also be annoying for some people, because if you're relentless, my wife has experienced that. So where if you're relentless about wanting to solve something, I'll go without eating, or I'll sacrifice, relax. Or I used to sacrifice my relaxation time to focus on the task and the problem at hand. That relentlessness can also bite you in the ass when it comes to your health as well. So these are things that I'm still having to learn from experience. But yeah, the relentlessness, man, it used to be a badge of honor, but now for me, it's just a way of life. It's just that if I don't have the skill set in an environment where I have to perform at top performance, then one, I better make sure that I'm highly enjoying it, and two, I better make sure that I'm willing to work harder than anybody else in the room. Yeah. It's important.
And that's definitely why you drive from San Diego to LA and like
for sure.
all that stuff. Yeah, that's why it's like, that's why I said I'm not totally surprised. I'm not surprised at all. You know what I mean? I'm flattered and honored and appreciate it and feel a little guilty at the same time.
No, don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty, because I look at it like this. Every day we have a set amount of decisions that we can make before we run into decision fatigue. And I don't know how many that number is, but I know that so many folks that I read about that, I respect their entrepreneurship from the like even like a Zuckerberg to a certain degree. He wears the same clothes, same color schemes every day, because that's one less decision that he has to make that could go over to his business, or could go over to, possible ventures and things that he's working on. And so for me,
Steve Jobs approach.
Exactly. The minimalist approach has always brought me back home whenever I have gone crazy and off the deep end and tried to go achieve the unachievable. Even when you talk about the Paid Dues campaign, when I simplified it and said, instead of trying to do all the things I saw other people do to get on this festival, I'm going to talk to 100 people. Every single place that I go that know who I am. If I even know 100 people at that time, I felt like, and say if they can give one reason why I deserve to be on Paid Dues, and focusing in on just that one thing birthed other ideas that ultimately was how Murs made his decision to put me on there. But simplifying is to me, it's a slept on concept for the majority of human beings. Because we always feel like in order to solve complex questions, there's got to be a complex answer.
And I remember you putting out all those videos and seeing like number 30, like 30 times, and he's going to do 100. He ain't doing 100. Like no one,
like the audacity.
No one would really do 100. You know what I mean? You might stop around 62, and I'm like, and then it gets in the 80s, and I'm like, this motherfucker's really going to put out 100 videos.
I feel it in my, honestly, when it comes to commitments, whenever I make commitments, I feel that in my bone. I feel that commitments to me are life and death. It sounds kind of crazy, but they're life and death to me, no matter what the commitment is. If it's a commitment to losing weight, if it's a commitment to reading a set amount of pages every day, if it's a commitment to my marriage, a commitment to parenting. Like I said, it's at a fault sometimes, because it can be a little bit annoying to not have, just a little bit of cushion to relax and recharge. But whenever I make a commitment, man, it sets within my bones. And if I do not follow through on it, it's something that actually, I feel like it affects me on a deeper level. And doing that has brought more success than the opposite. So, I mean, it's kind of, like I said, it's a default at this point.
And I'm gonna ask, how old are you? You're
35 this month, or last month, January.
Happy birthday, man.
Thank you, man.
Okay, cool. And how long did it take you to make that a lifestyle? It's just kind of happened over the last.
I think it has a lot to do with my upbringing too, because my pops was my pops was my grandfather is a military dude, so he came under that tutelage and that discipline, and then in my pops, who he applied that to his business, then instilled that within me, and I really feel like it's been, I don't remember when it clicked. I don't remember if it was, in my teens, or if this was something if I was playing basketball, baseball, if I was, karate, taekwondo.
Yeah.
It's always been there. So that's a good question because I really don't know where it began. I just know that my father is a big part of that discipline. And so, it's something now to where I guess the bigger question for me is, when did you find the balance on it?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of folks, it's easier to just say, all right, cool, I'm gonna do the Curtis approach. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna just put my foot to the pavement.
Right.
But without the balance, without having hobbies, without having a life outside of the thing that you love, you're going to hit a wall that is just, the longer it takes you to get to that wall, the harder it's gonna smack you. Because you're gonna look back like I did not even too long ago, like the end of last year, end of 2019, I looked and I was like, yo, what is my life without music?
Yeah.
And am I happy with that?
Yeah.
Am I okay to sit still for a full day and not work on something or think about working on something the next day? Am I okay with that? Am I at peace with that? And I wasn't.
Yeah.
So balance is the bigger thing because, like I said, it's easy to just get in there, and once you love something that you're doing, it's easy to just continuously work.
Sure. It's
not easy to remind yourself to eat and drink water and stand up and stretch.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah,
those are the things now that I wish that I would have instilled in myself earlier, but it all happens for a reason.
Yeah, man, absolutely, and it happens. That's the point. Is it happens?
Yes, before it's too late. Which is I mean, that's the scariest thing.
Yeah, when we first talked about you coming to do this, I happened to, my availability ideally is between 10 a.m. like during the week, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. That just happens to be like my window. You know what I mean? So that's when the kids at school, I got to go pick them up after all those things, right? Okay. That's usually what I hit people with. And, we'll work around anyone's schedule, but that's the ideal window. And you can imagine working with a lot of creative types and rappers and all that, you know?
Yeah.
I tell them 10 a.m. and you would think I said, can we do 4 a.m.? Is that cool? You cool to wake up at 3:30? You know what I mean? And that's fine. That's totally fine. But they tend to go up, like if the cutoff is 2, they're like, how about 5? Is 5 cool? You know what I mean? I'm like 5 o'clock. All right, and I'll work with it, right? But you, and this is something else that didn't surprise me. You're like, let me get that 10 a.m. spot. I'll be there at 10 a.m.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And there's a few factors that go into that. One being, I think the biggest thing is I'm already a morning person.
Yeah, I was going to actually, sorry to cut you off, but you said, I think I responded like, dude, I love early people. Yeah. And you said, man, waking up early can solve most of your problems. And I don't know if you were being hyperbolic, but I want to unpack that because I believe that. Yeah.
So like I was going to say, the first thing is, I'm definitely a morning person. Like I know you don't hear people saying that often.
Sure.
But I'm definitely a morning person. And 2, it just helps because I'm able to knock out a lot of work and then get back before the traffic. It gets crazy. But for me, honestly, I haven't always been a morning person, but when I tried out, let's just try to squeeze in more hours out of this day.
Yeah.
Because if I'm waking up at 12 p.m. and I'm trying to still have somewhat of a life outside of my craft and then bring the craft into it, it doesn't leave much time to where your days don't feel as long.
Right.
And especially when I had, when my wife and I had our son, that was really like, yo, you better get to it before 8 a.m., 9 a.m. when he usually wakes up, because if you don't get to it, your day is going to literally kind of, I don't want to say go downhill, but be determined by his needs.
It's going to get away from you.
It's going to get away. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so I started just doing it. Like I started just waking up and realizing it's the perfect time for me to meditate. It's a perfect time for me to get some reading done.
Sure.
And know that I'm not going to be bombarded by a bunch of messages on my phone, not be bombarded with a bunch of pretty much other people's problems out in the general public. I don't check email. Sometimes I leave my phone in a completely different room.
Yeah.
And then also too, something I did research on was my sleep chronotype.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of sleep chronotype?
I know the term. I don't know much about it.
So basically, sleep chronotype, as I understood it, was everybody based upon a certain amount of elements in their environment and who they are and how they came up. we find working at certain hours, waking up at certain hours to be more conducive and more supportive. And they're basically times that we can expect to be at our peak.
Okay.
And so some people can wake up at 4:30 a.m. They're at peak.
Yeah.
I did my sleep chronotype, and I'm like the what most people are, which is like the bear chronotype. I think it's the bear chronotype, the dolphin chronotype. Then there's two other ones I forget.
Okay.
But I'm the bear one, which is wake up at 7:30. You won't feel, I don't feel tired. I feel like that's a perfect time for me to get up.
Yeah.
And they suggest, you know, getting certain things done in the morning, like my walking and my meditation, before 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And then between 10 a.m. and this certain time, this gives me my highest productivity.
Okay.
It's not to say that I can't work at 10
Sure.
p.m., but I started thinking about that and I was like, that's so crazy, because even when I was working at all hours of the day on my craft, I didn't like late night studio sessions.
Right.
I wasn't a big fan of them. I did them because they were a necessity to get work done working with creatives.
Sure.
But it didn't necessarily, it wasn't my favorite. My favorite time to work was first thing in the morning when my thoughts are fresh.
Yeah.
I got some food in my system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it took me studying about that. And really, you can just take a test online, a survey
I was
online,
going to ask,
and they'll tell you.
I'm interested. I want to do it.
Take a survey online and it'll tell you what your sleep chronotype is, and you'll start to figure out, why is it on days that I try to manually make this my most productive day? I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. Why doesn't it work for my habits? And it asks you a certain amount of questions that all give you this end result. When I got the end result, I was like, these times are almost eerily perfect. And I've been doing them kind of loosely. Like even like it says workout from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And
That's
I was
yours
like,
specifically?
That was mine specifically.
Okay.
And I was already working between that hours.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Right? And 7:30 were days that I woke up, quote unquote, late.
Yeah.
But I felt better when I woke up on those days. So the sleep chronotype basically sets you up for after you answer these set amount of questions, you'll know more about your habits and what works best with your lifestyle. So after getting that survey, the survey results for that, I've been waking up 7 a.m., no problems at all. I don't feel tired. I bounce right up and I get to my morning regimen, which really doesn't change day to day.
And what time are you going to sleep on average?
Between 10 and 11.
Okay.
10 and 11.
Okay.
I mean, I would love to get in there earlier, but you know, my son Nas, he'll say otherwise.
Yeah, he don't give a shit.
He don't care about none of his regimen. He don't care about none of this shit. He like
what?
He like, oh, it's Gadzooks and word party time. I'm finna stay. So yeah, so that can be a challenge, but at the same time, it helps that I have a wife that. One, she is like the opposite of me in a lot of ways, in that she likes working late at night, and that's part of her chronotype. Okay. And she, you know, we tag team. We help each other out because she has her own business as well. So it's important to have that support.
Teamwork. It's a cliche for a reason, man. Teamwork does make the dream work, man.
Yeah, this would not be possible without my wife. It would not be possible for me.
Completely relate to that. I completely relate to that. To take it a little back to paid dues, I remember the day Murs announced the lineup, and I remember you went live. I assume it was on Facebook. I can't even remember what was a thing back then.
It would have been Ustream.
Yeah, straight up something. But I remember I had a desk job at the time, and you had announced that I know Murs was gonna stream it and all that, and you did it at the same time, or maybe you recorded a video of yourself watching the stream. All I remember is in one screen it was Murs reading the names. And then you had this like goofy expression on your face when he read your name. And I remember I was at work at a desk, and I had the window all minimized with the sound all low. You know what I mean? Because I was not about to miss it. Yeah. And I remember when I heard your name and I saw your reaction, there was just, I've never been so proud of someone that I didn't know.
That's crazy.
I'd never met you. You know what I mean? I mean, even now, like I think we've only met in the flesh twice, three times, something like that. You know what I mean? But it doesn't even matter anymore with the internet and all that, right?
Like you know folks anyways.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember just being so, it's like we got one. I don't even know who we is, but like, you know what I mean? It was very, very inspiring. And how has your life, like how much of your success now can you attribute to paid dues? Like, would you have done all of these things anyway?
I feel that was how can I put this? The event itself was an event. It was a full day of meeting amazing people who had helped me get to that spot and had, you know, basically been retweeting and tweeting, yo, put my boy on paid dues. And it was beautiful to take all the pictures, but the show itself was like the quickest 15 minutes that I can even think of. So not so much the show that had a tremendous impact on me in my career. I'm sure that it definitely accounted for a lot more followers on social media, but I don't think that one show is sort of that make or break moment. I think for me, the bigger picture in that, the reason why I even campaigned, because I wasn't even going to campaign. I thought that, you know, in my mind, I was just some local rapper that, you know, and not to say that that's not a bad thing. I hate people do that. I was a local rapper that, you know, I wasn't as important as, say, like a Noah James was to the IE, because he's throwing shows, you know, he has a successful career as an artist. And so I didn't really look at myself. I looked at myself more, especially because I was with Black Cloud at the time, which was a label based in IE.
Right.
And I looked at myself more as a point guard than a center.
Okay.
And so I was always distributing beats or marketing ideas. That was just me. I just wasn't the guy that was like, okay, all the attention on me now.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And so the biggest thing that happened was I had a conversation with Yep, who is a dope lyricist from the IE, from Riverside.
Okay.
And he's also my barber. And he has his own shop called Canvas Barbershop. And I was sitting in his chair and he was like, we were just having small talk. And he said, man, I think it's time for you to lift the bar. I think it's time for you to raise the bar for yourself. He said, I think you have a window right now that if you walk through it would be perfect timing. But if you do not walk through it, either you'll never know what this could have been or you'll regret it. And I didn't know what he meant at the time, but basically paid dues came up as a campaign and idea. And I took that conversation, I ran with it. What I had no idea is, to answer your question, that was a huge turning point for me in terms of how I viewed myself and my importance to the region that I was in, which was the Inland Empire, my importance to, you know, really even just LA too, just all over, what my impact was, because I didn't take time to sit there and think about how has my impact reached this person. I didn't think about that. I was just, in my mind, I'm just a producer who happens to rap. And some people like him, some people don't.
Sure.
But that was a huge turning point for me, to where I started to view things and say, you know what, I should expect more of myself.
Yeah.
And I should, it's not a problem for me to not poke my chest out, but it's not a problem for me to be proud of my accomplishments and to own them and not, you know, sort of try to shy away from when people give me you know, props and respect. So I took it as an opportunity, honestly, to say, all right, I made this happen. What else have I been holding myself back from? If I can accomplish this through a 96, you know, day campaign, what other things have I been sort of, maybe I wasn't operating on 100%. Maybe I've been only operating on 75%, and that's good enough to be more than above average. But what about if I gave that, you know what I'm saying? 1% more, you know? But I think that's what that experience for me was, me setting the bar higher for myself in terms of what I expected of myself. And so I would have never gone that route. And maybe it did have, I mean, it had to have a domino effect into the stuff that I'm doing now.
Yeah. So like the show itself.
It's a show. I mean, I don't want to belittle because it is a huge, that is one of the biggest shows I ever did in my career as a recording artist. And I'm grateful Murs put me on the biggest independent hip hop stage of all time.
Yeah.
Point blank period. But at the end of the day,
itself is what,
at the end of the day, like this is for any artist that maybe you're campaigning to get on another festival or whatever the case may be. Realize that no matter how hard you campaign, even if you get it, that it's only a moment in time, and you're gonna wake up the next morning and say, I was cool. What's next?
What now? Yeah.
Maybe not even the next morning. Maybe when you jump off the stage. For me, I was like, all of that was for that small time period. It was amazing, but it's like, that's it. It's over now. So having the long-term vision is so much more important, and I would not have had that. But the show itself, it's a moment. It's a moment. Take your pictures, shake hands, kiss babies, and then you got to go home and do something else.
Right, man. Right. No, I love it.
I mean, it opened up an opportunity to go tour with Murs, but
we talked about that with Noah. Actually, I remember watching you guys from afar, like
sure,
checking in.
But then again, you have to think, had I not got the bigger message, which was raise the bar, what do you expect more of yourself? Would I have accepted Murs's invitation to perform at the House of Blues Anaheim, which was the night that he announced to us, hey, I want to take you guys on tour as Black Cloud. But it's like, if I didn't view myself as somebody who could rock a sold out crowd, you know, who's to say that I would even accept it? Maybe I would have made that a Black Cloud set, or hey, let's all get in here and do it. But I took it, I owned it. I made some phone calls. I got Glasses Malone to come out, and a bunch of folks that you know, a few years before, it just didn't seem like that would even be a possibility. But I demanded more of myself, and I still do.
I love it, man. I love it so much. Yeah, that's amazing. I remember you at some point, you just, your content, you know what I mean? People throw the word content around a lot, but like, you're one of the people who, like, you're about this life, you know what I'm saying? And it's cool to watch. And I remember you recommending like 5 books at a time. And this was years ago, and you've been on your Gary Vee shit for longer than anyone I know, including Joe Rogan. Right. He didn't do Rogan till years after that, right?
So crazy.
And I remember it was like hook. What was the name of it?
Jab, right hook.
That's the one. Yeah. And like, do you have other books now? Like, do you still make time to read?
I have to. That's a requirement for me. I think that the cool thing for a lot of folks that's unfortunate when I look at interviews of rappers is, you know, I don't read. Like even the conscious artists, the more like intelligent ones, I don't read. I don't know why that's a sense of pride in that, but I take pride in you know, the saying where they say, if your TV's bigger than your bookcase, then you can't be mad about you being broke.
Oh, I never heard that, but I love it.
That one hit me, but it was like
start looking at your TV.
You're like, that's a big screen TV, but I got 4 books in here. Nah, but I have to make time to read, because to me that is the easiest way, that if I have a question about, let's use Gary Vee as an example. If I have a question about bootstrapping a small business, and I've never had a successful small business, and I can talk to one of the leading voices, maybe not directly word to word, face to face, but he is disclosing all of this information, I better make time for that, because that is the most important time that I could be spending. When I think about Warren Buffett, you know, one of the richest man in the world, how does he still find time to read an X amount of words every single day? Why do it? You already got all the money.
Right.
He feels at some point it's got to be, it brings him enjoyment, and at some point it's got to be, this is the success. This is the secret to my success. Yeah. So for me, I have been reading a lot of books lately about spirituality. Okay. The Power of Now.
That's what, dude, that book is what made me get into books. That's when amazing. It first came out. I was just in Target, years ago in Target. I was just like, oh, what's this about? And then I was like, well, I'm buying this, and just banged it out. You never know. That's
the thing about it. Like, people say, I don't have time. I'm too impatient for a book. Yeah. And they want all the answers and the shortcuts, but it's like, yo, the whole point, you sit with a 300-page book to get that one gem. Yes. That you will never forget for the rest of your life. There's a lot more things I've forgotten about from when I've been reading books, but there's a lot of things that, because I retained that one thing, and it took me putting it in its proper context by reading the book from beginning to end. I couldn't just scroll through and say, oh, that's interesting.
Sure.
So some of the books that Power Now is one of them.
Yeah.
Also, Thick Face, Black Heart.
Okay. I've never heard of that.
Oh man, it's a slapped on one. It's a cold-blooded book. It's not quite 48 Laws cold-blooded, but it's one of those things where it removes the veil from things that are absolutely positive and absolutely negative. It makes you look at the world in a more balanced way. And it's just this lady who made this book. She's just genius. So Thick Face, Black Heart is another book I suggest. What other book have I been reading? A lot of stuff by Ryan Holiday, which he's like a stoic buff. Okay. He has a book called Stillness is the Key. Another one called Ego is the Enemy.
Okay.
Oh man.
I was just talking about that book with Self-Provoked, I think. He told me about Ego is the Enemy.
Man, Ego is the Enemy. Obstacle is the Way, and Stillness is the Key. I read that during that period of time at the end of last year that I was telling about, that I hit that wall. And it was a dark, dark place for me because it was so unexpected to get to that place. But I read all three of those books back to back. Yeah. And it helped me understand, no, I am the closest to becoming who I'm supposed to become by going through this. Right. And by going through that, I started reading all three of those books back to back. I started to realize how much I had in common with the philosophy of Stoicism, from Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. I forget how to pronounce it, but reading like how on point their philosophies were all them years ago and how it relates to right now. Right, man, it's something that definitely has helped me not get too high on my highs or too low on my lows. So now I'm here. But those books right there, you jump into that, and then always I'll suggest The Go-Giver. I remember you've been suggesting that, and every time unfortunately I still haven't read that one, man, but I want to. Take the audiobook. It'll take you about 3 hours, right? 3 hours to finish it. The audiobook is how I experienced it, and I had the same kind of thing where it was like, man, the homie R. Bars keep telling me to read this book. Okay, all right, I'll read it. It's just another book. But every time you say it's just another book, you end up finding that book that's like, oh my God, this is why we read. Absolutely, man. So those are the ones though, because those, if anybody notices anything about me now, is I try to take more of me out of the equation. I try to just, instead of trying to react to every single thing, because I used to be in a place where I'd react to every single thing, every single person, and it always left me imbalanced and them satisfied. Right. So now I'm making a habit of just, anytime a problem arises or potential problem, I just sit back and observe it. And without those books, I would not have been able to even recognize that I could observe it. Sure. And then also the teachings of Muji, who's somebody that I found on YouTube, man. He's a Jamaican spiritual teacher that I've never met him, but I feel like he's like a grandfather. Oh, okay. Based upon the stuff that I found during the time that I was going through that dark moment. The stuff that he speaks about on spirituality and such a, it's not the typical guru way. It's just such a simple approach that it just helps you understand the true power that we all have as human beings. Yeah, interesting. I love when you stumble on something like that and like, yo, how did I get this far without this? You know? I have those moments. Videos and the videos I've been watching typically range from like 12 years ago to 9 years ago. Yeah, so they've been out there. Yeah. But I think we got to find. We have to find that stuff at the right time, which makes you wonder what else is out there. You know? Yeah. Because you go down one rabbit hole, and it's crazy because Muji is what literally led me to somebody else saying, "Oh, you're into that? You should check out The Power of Now." Right. Oh, okay. So I went a whole other direction to get there. Yeah. But I'm just grateful that I got there because I used to take a lot of things personal. I used to be ultra, like, I think most artists and producers can relate to that, even if they don't want to relate to that. Right. We can be very extremely sensitive creatures. Sure. Right. You got to think our craft calls upon us to pull some of our happiest, saddest, darkest, depressing, broke, richest, whatever moments. And we have to pull from those on call, right? We get a beat and it's like, what does this remind you of? What story are we going to pull from? Well, I got to really tell the details of the story and relive it.
Yeah.
That's like opening up wounds on a regular basis. And so, or opening up, Band-Aids on a regular basis. And so I had to be able to now, as I got older, to look at it and say, okay, if my mind has, my mind, okay, has the ability to think a thought, right? Something that is not of the mind, something that says like, man, you suck at producing.
Yeah.
And another part of my mind, let's say it's the mind, says, why would you say that? Like, where did that thought even come from?
Yeah.
The fact that I have the ability somewhere within me to observe both of them having a dialogue.
Right.
Who's the observer? And who's observing that observer? Because obviously I'm observing that as well. Yeah. So when I heard that, it threw me, and I heard that from Moji.
Okay.
Who's watching the watcher. And so I sat down, and my wife knows, she woke up that morning because I had my morning regimen. I was up early in the morning. Yeah. I was just sitting in the chair and I just thinking. Yeah. It messed me up.
Yeah.
But that simple, and it may sound like people may have to go back and run it back because like, what's so crazy about that? But when you really sit with that idea, you start to realize that there is a power within you that is more powerful than anything external that you could bring to yourself. What if you recognize that there is a power within you that has all the answers that you ever looked for? If you ever think about it, when somebody puts you on game or they give you information or it takes you having an understanding of the words that are there in front of you to resonate with them and to put it into action and to understand it. Oh, that's a bar.
Sure.
But is that really out of your own inner comprehension?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense.
It makes me think like all the answers are already there. Maybe our journey is not about finding people that can help us and give us the answer. Maybe our journey is all about meeting people that can help us clear the lenses that's right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been focusing on is, recognizing the power within me so that whenever I have a thought that, because it still comes up, it's a part of our lives that comes up that's not genuine and pure to my pure self.
Right.
I just sit back and observe. I don't react. I don't say, I just observe. Just look at it for what it is. And the simple act of observing and knowing that I can observe puts me in so much peace that I just let it pass like a cloud. I keep moving.
That's so amazing to hear. That just kind of blew my mind. That's awesome. That's so awesome. Yeah, just like not being reactive. That's something like you just put it way more eloquently than I could ever. But like that's definitely something as I've gotten older, I've been trying to be less reactive.
Right.
And like you said, like creative types, like we're emotional. It was supposed to be
that. A freestyle is literally the most reactive. Capability. Like in order to be great at it, you have to literally look at this person that's walking up to the cipher and say, like, my man's here in the red sweater, something.
Yeah, right.
He says I'm whack, but I'm better. Like you literally are pulling upon everybody and everything that's in there. Yeah. And that makes you efficient at what you're doing, being perceptive of the world around you. But everything comes with the positive and the negative.
Yeah.
And so having that skill is amazing to be so perceptive, but it can make you over perceptive.
Sure.
And it can make you look deeper into things that are around you without looking at the things that are right within you at this moment in time. And so, 2020 has been my time so far to focus on as much in the right now as possible. I know that sounds extremely cliche, but
it sounds amazing.
Depression lives in the past.
Yes.
Anxiety lives in the future. When I was told that, easy.
I've never been told that, but I'm going to tell it to everyone. Confucius.
I've
heard of him. Yeah.
It was a meme that I found it on. Confucius said,
shit. Okay.
But basically saying that, I'm not saying in his words, but basically he's saying that when we are depressed, we're living in the past. When we are anxious, it means that our mind is living in the future.
Okay.
When we're at peace, we're living in the right now. When you think about, because I'm somebody who still to this day, you know, I have my battle with anxiety.
Yeah.
There's things that have helped, like CBD. I wish that I would have known better, because I've always been like somebody who I don't like smoking because I just get so much anxious anxiety. But
Same.
CBD, no THC. A company approached me about using their product and doing like a brand collaboration, and I did it not really knowing what to expect, and I'm good. I'm good. I don't feel the anxiety. I don't like taking stuff just to take it.
Sure.
And it leaves me at ease. But I'm at peace, because anytime I feel my brain starting to say like, man, this reminds me of that time, and this is the same thing's getting ready to happen. Or I'm sitting here like, man, I hope this next, sound pack that I'm working on gets a whole lot of downloads. And I'm like, The future is none of my business. And if it is my business, because some people don't agree with that statement. I was talking about Pops about that, and he's like, I don't know about that. The future is your business. Well, if it is my business, that's a better argument for me to stay within the right now and do whatever I can right now, because that's all that I have to prepare myself for the future, ultimately. So in other words, for me, I want to say it, the future is none of my business, because we learned that even from God rest his soul, and his daughter and the other passengers on that helicopter. Yeah, life can change just like that. Right. So those plans that he had for the rest of the day, gone like that. And so I don't take that lightly. And I think that people who deal with anxiety, this is what I was going to get at. The people who deal with anxiety, the thing that we forget about when we're in the midst of it is that 9 times out of 10, it's nothing right there in front of us. It's not a gun that's right there pointed at us. Right. It's not, our car going off the side of the road. It's none of that. It's always where our mind takes us. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Oh my God. Like it may be something so minor, like, and people don't recognize like these things that happen. I didn't recognize it either, but a certain song plays. Okay, give an example. Yeah. You and I are at a funeral, and in the background, somebody's playing like, I don't know, Charlie Brown. They're playing those keys on the piano because it's really soothing, it's really relaxing. And then I pat you on the back and I say, it's going to be all right. What you don't know is that I created a trigger for you in the future. Now, on the way to work, you may say, I have my relaxation playlist. And you know what? That Charlie Brown song comes up. You're not thinking about it. You're feeling something, but you're not thinking about it. And then you go to work, and then you're at the desk, and then somebody says, you're doing a bang up job. Yeah. Trigger. All of a sudden, you feel this overwhelming anxiety that you don't know where it came from. Yeah. But that's the power of physiology. That's the power of focus. That's the power of these things that can trigger us, especially when it happens to us in traumatic times. So anxiety is still some sort of focus on the past, or some kind of anxiety of the future. When I recognize that, I realize, especially like when I'm like, I got sick with the flu last month, like really, really bad. Stomach flu so bad. Yeah. And then in the midst of me being sick, I started having all of these depressing thoughts. And I was like, my new commitment is I don't trust any thoughts when I'm in a vulnerable position. I absolutely subscribe to that. That's exactly how I am. No more. And I'll let you elaborate on it, but I'm like, at that point, I'm like, you know what? So many times that anxiety comes, it's a liar. Yes. It's a liar. It's a liar about what's actually happening in the present, because nothing is happening in front of me. Right. Anxiety in traffic. Nobody got in an accident. I'm just now feeling a little bit tense because I've been sitting down and I'm thinking about the last time I had an anxiety. It's not about what's happening in the present. That's why people tell you, stay in the moment, stay in the present. And so I've been focusing on that and nothing else. And it's been helping me day to day to really, really just find a nice, peaceful balance. Yeah. Through work, through fatherhood, through marriage. And I just don't want to break that up. Yeah. Something you said you're no longer, I can't remember exactly how you said, but I've always, not always, let's give myself a lot of credit. I've recently developed this philosophy where if I, like you said, you had the flu. Yeah.
if I'm sick, if I have a stomach, if there's anything weird, you know what I mean? Even like self-imposed, like if I'm hungover, I try not to be, you know what I mean?
Right.
But then the dark thoughts start coming. We start going to the dark place, right? And before I would just ride with that and just end up wherever it took me.
Yeah.
These days I'm more like, okay, this is no time to analyze your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
We're not gonna put that on the table right now.
No. We're not talking. We're not going to think about our goals or what we have to do. We're not going to think about that thing you said or your dad told you when you were a kid. You know what I mean?
Like everything through this lens right now is completely cloudy and shitty right now.
Absolutely. just like being drunk. Just like, you say some crazy shit. If you're drunk, you know what I mean? That's no time to be having discussions with deep discussions.
And,
you know what I mean?
And that's where I think you get in a habit of observing, and you realize that negative thoughts, addictions, all these things are clouds that it's almost like it's a cloud coming before our eyes, and we got a decision. Am I going to take it? Am I going to take it? Am I going to take it? Am I going to take? I'm focused on it. I'm focused on. Okay, I got to take that cloud right now.
That's such a good way to put it.
But if you're able to just kind of like be that person, be that kid with your hands on your head. You're just looking up at the clouds on a mountain, like on a hill, and you're just looking at the clouds. You kind of feel the sensations, but you do nothing.
Yeah,
that to me is the greatest thing, especially for anybody who struggles with like weight loss.
Yeah,
you didn't do anything wrong by thinking the thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The part that actually hurt you was thinking the thought and reacting to the thought. And so it's okay to think the thought and just kind of sit back and, like I said, let that cloud pass, because eventually it will pass. The same way that the first thoughts you had this morning has shifted so many different ways since we just got into this conversation right now. Same thing for me. So it's going to pass. It's going to pass eventually. And, don't be afraid to, that's why for me, like I had to take a chance with the CBD because it offered me assistance.
Sure.
And I had been such an old dog with my habits that I needed a little, I felt like I deserved a little bit of assistance to kind of help me work through, my focus with anxiety, but I'm serious about it. And so between using the CBD products, between getting rest and getting sleep and recovering my body from the damage that I'm sure I put on it as an artist and producer in my 20s, that has given me a place where it's like, all right, now we can finally focus on not just waiting for the cloud to pass, but actually doing something about the foundation, doing something about why do we think the thoughts that we are thinking.
Right.
And that's a battle that a lot of people they don't want to look in the mirror. But I'm always prepared to do that.
Yeah. Had you had any assistance before? Like, have you ever dabbled in medications for these type of things?
Like I've had times where I took like well, I don't know what it was. It might have. That's just bad. Sounds bad, but it was.
I swallowed something. I don't know. I drank some water. It was cool.
Homegirl Xanax or something. It was something along the lines of that. It was something that it was like Zoloft. It was something I forget what it was, but at the time she showed me all the information and it looked like it made sense, and I just didn't like the fact that it felt like a lazy. Like, and I'm not dissing anybody who uses it, but for me, I felt like, damn, if I wanted to feel like this, I could have did other things to feel like this. I don't feel better. It just I feel like, and I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, because some people need an opportunity to just click all of that stuff off. Yeah. But for me, I didn't want to. It was hard for me to be productive with whatever I had, and so I said, you know what? Let me just work through this myself, the natural way, the purest way, or whatever. Right. And that had a ceiling. And so for me, that's where CBD came in. And I was just like, I feel more at ease than I have felt in probably 25 years of my life. Yeah. And I'm 35, right? Yeah. And this is throughout my career. And I feel like for the first time, I can be silent. I can stop letting my mind go like crazy, but I don't feel like I'm not going to be able to work. What CBD did for me was it shut down the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for overthinking. Right. In doing that, I was able to be at peace when I'm actually relaxing, and even at more peace when I'm producing and making music, which I didn't expect. But That's what happens when you're what they call your flow state. Your flow state occurs when your prefrontal cortex, that is in your front part of your brain, that is responsible for thinking and overthinking and emotional attachment. It shuts down temporarily, and you get into this flow state where it's just step by step by step. It just flows. Everything just goes. You just feel like you're Mario with that star in Super Mario.
Yeah.
That's what occurred. It has been occurring for me for the last 2 months since I've been with the CBD. So all of that helps. But yeah, the medication just wasn't for me. And I feel like for the way that I want to go, I couldn't have something that was like slow down and go to sleep. It just wouldn't work for me.
No, I understand, man. I've tried different medications, and it's like, because you mentioned productivity, like it might take the edge off, but it also makes me less productive, and not being productive is what's bumming me out in the first place.
It takes the edge off, but it also takes the edge off.
Yeah,
right. It's literally what it is.
Most people wouldn't understand
that.
No. Yeah. I absolutely. I like my edges.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Some of those edges are good. Like not every part of the edge is detrimental to you. Everything. In what do they say? In moderation. Everything in moderation is not life or death for you, right? But in moderation, in controlled moderation, and most folks do not have that control. Most human beings don't have that control. But I think it's important to be able to say, like I said, I want my edge. Yeah. I like parts of my edge. Yeah. But then also too come to grips with the fact that part of that edge requires a certain level of angst, a certain level of anxiety, because without that anxiety, where's the urgency? Right?
Yes.
Yo. So and I think that's the bigger thing is, yes, we have now like medicine, and we have natural medicine, all these different things, subscription, all these things that can literally, prescriptions that can help us in ways that we never imagined as human beings.
Yeah.
But do they address the bigger battle that we must all face at some point in time, which is, what is at the source of this?
Yeah.
Because even if, like you said, you take something that knocks the edge off, one, it's going to fade away at some point.
Yeah.
And two, them problems ain't going nowhere.
Right.
If they take a nap, they take a nap, but they still not going anywhere.
Sure. Do you think that's a societal thing? Like, is that a Westernized thing, or do you? What
I think it is. I think it is Western.
Human.
Definitely a Western culture, and it's crazy because the more that I like tap into folks like Moji and I see what the people who ask him questions who are from the same area, their default is a lot different than our default.
Yeah,
and also too, like, it's not that we have different technology than that they have. I just think that our relationship is a bit more dependent upon technology. Simple things like even the way that we consume books, right? I feel like there's a lot more people now, at least within my circle, that go to audiobooks as opposed to sitting down, and it's old fashioned to sit and read a book, or even to write out a thought.
Yes.
When scientists have literally said that when you write it out as opposed to type it out, it stays with you because there's a neurological response that just it stays with you because of the process of writing.
Sure.
And so I want that, and maybe that makes me old school. Maybe that makes me like not kind of like the typical in Western culture.
Right.
I feel like those things matter. Writing down,
it helps.
It helps. Yeah. And if it helps you retain it, why not do it? And once again, going back to the beginning of what we talked about in this conversation, I feel like ultimately all the answers to all your complex questions is a simplistic approach. It's always a way to simplify it even more.
Yeah.
And that is the key. The key, I'm realizing the older I get, is not a question of more. More doesn't solve as many problems as less does.
Yeah.
But we're all obsessed with more. That's what Western culture is about. Like, society is about more technology, more upgrades, more ways for me to be at home while you deliver my food to me, more ways for me to get 1 million movies in one subscription plan. We want more. It's so obsessing, everything in our society, but the people who tap into what we really want found a way to focus on less and do less. And that doesn't mean be less than your capabilities. It just means putting your max into a micro that matters.
Yeah, completely follow that. Yeah,
so that's what I'm focused on now. Instead of saying, yo, I got the ability to do this, because like you ask a producer, what's your style? I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I don't do a little bit of everything. I don't want to do a little bit of everything. I love it. I do this. I make soulful music.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Listen to it. It's soulful music. Does that mean I'm using only chopped samples? No. It just means that my music carries a very soulful tinge that is I can't get away from.
Yeah.
So then what is your sound design like? It's soulful sound design.
Yeah.
So if me finding that umbrella and realizing that is ultimately, no matter what I do, that's going to be a part of what I am. One of the greatest things I read in a book about marketing is replace the word brand with reputation and replace the word content with message.
What book is this?
What is it? I think it's called Seducing Strangers.
Okay.
And I think that I know that it's one of the producers of a TV show called Mad Men who made this book.
Okay.
But he said, replace the word.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you to repeat that.
Of course. Replace the word brand, because everybody talks about, I want to learn ways to build my brand up.
Yeah.
Just say reputation. Because now when you say that, it's going to change your relationship with it. These words are very pale, soy-tinged words that don't have any relation to us or emotional attachment. Like brand. We don't reputation. That
we all resonate with that.
We all resonate with
absolutely.
That, right? And so when you think about how can I build my brand, instead of saying how can I build my reputation, that gives you ideas. Other side of it, man, Curtis, how do I build up content for my social media?
I hate that word, and I just used it because I thought.
but we had to do it in context. We know exactly what we mean when we say that. But if you say, and this is really, I guess, the conversation I'm talking about is not necessarily on the front end. This is a back end conversation you have with yourself as you're brainstorming with yourself or your team.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, man, what kind of content am I going to drop on Instagram today? Just say, what kind of message am I going to put on Instagram today?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you start thinking about message. Well, what is my message? Well, my message is all about, preservation of the mind, the body, and having peak enjoyment, also with peak performance. So who else is talking about this? How else can I share that? Is there a photo that I could put a quote on that maybe resonates with that? All of a sudden, I'm getting ideas.
Yeah.
Do I want to share a Muji video in which he talks about the necessity to spend time with yourself? I think that's pretty spot on to my reputation and my message of putting this out there to this certain demographic. And so when I replaced those words, this became a cakewalk. Like what we're doing is no different than what we were doing on when I had a blogger account, a Blogspot account.
Yeah.
And I had a Tumblr. Like this is no different. It's just now we're doing it in a different platform.
Yeah. Because we've been talking about books. It should be mentioned, and we already talked about it. You fucking wrote one. How did you just? Who just writes a book?
Yeah, man. Don't ask me. I wasn't looking to write a book. At the time, I wasn't looking to write a book. I really wasn't looking. I made a video. So for those that, maybe you didn't, maybe you knew me as an artist and as a producer early on in my career, and you didn't understand what happened and why I stopped recording music as an artist or started doing less of it and more YouTube videos. After reading the book, The Go-Giver, a huge shift occurred in which I realized one of the biggest issues in hip hop, at least at that time, was that this old versus young topic, in which you got OGs who were mad at the young dudes for wearing skinny jeans and rapping like this, and that's mumble rap. And you got the young dudes who were mad at the OGs because it's like, well, you never taught us the way, or y'all are y'all are boomers, yada yada yada. Like all this stuff is going back and forth, and I recognized that I was in the middle because I was a middle-aged rapper. Right. So at that point, I looked and I said, you know what? I'm the only one that both sides will listen to. And it was fact in terms of my life. Like talking to Murs, like besides him being my mentor, like he really looks at me as a brother, and he'll ask me questions about, just business related stuff, and even just life stuff we'll go back and forth on.
Yeah.
And then the flip side of that is I have a younger artist that I, looks up to what I'm doing, and they'll come to me feeling like I'm not going to judge them.
Right.
So I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
So this is my opportunity, even though I just had an album at that time that was like top 20, like Hip Hop DX called it the top 25 albums of that year. And they mentioned my album, Raging Waters.
Yeah.
That's a time that I should have been putting my foot on the gas and going.
Yeah.
But I said, at my prime, I feel like I could have such a bigger impact. And I feel like I could also truly get what I want to achieve through the vehicle of giving. And so I gave what I felt like had never been given to me early on, or what didn't get given to me, which was just information. And it was such a taboo thing to do because—
Yeah, I was going to ask, what was the reception
man.
like?
At first, people were rebelling against it. Like, not the people who were getting the information, the people on the back end who knew it was legit.
Right.
They were mad at me because they were like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you giving away game? Like, I gave you some of that game. But it was like, why? That only, I shouldn't say it only exists, but that is such a bad attribute for our genre of hip hop because it holds us back from growing as an entire industry, not making more money. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
Growing in terms of actually maturing as an industry and putting us in a power position to where we call our own moves. It's the reason why we continue getting bad deals from people who are outside of the culture.
Right.
Because they recognize that, oh, this is what you value? Oh, that's pennies to me. Take that.
Yeah.
But what I recognized was that, damn, I was listening to a podcast called Entrepreneurs on Fire by John Lee Dumas, and he had a format in the very beginning of his podcast where he would talk and ask the same exact questions to every multimillionaire that he talks to. Every single one of them, he asked the question, what are your streams of revenue? Mm-hmm. And I kid you not, bro, every single one of them had at least one stream of revenue that involved teaching or giving.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, I felt like somebody had given me like top secret documents. I listened to it, and I listened to it. I was in the house. I was like, what the hell? Is this really the key? Because I keep hearing this. It must be something to it. I read The Go Giver, and it said the same exact thing. And so the secret to giving is living. I heard Tony Robbins say that too. And I was like, you know what? This is what I've been doing anyways. I just need to own it.
Yeah.
And so I owned it. I started creating videos, and I got the backlash from the people who knew that it was good information, who thought that I should have been putting my foot on my own career, like the gas on my own. I should be doing my own. And I focused in on the people who didn't, the folks who didn't have access to this information. Yeah. The rapper who is in Montana who will never have the opportunity to chop up game with Murs or Glasses or the multitude of people that I've talked to in my come up. Yeah. And then also haven't had the experiences that I've had. And so I just started sharing. Yeah. And what I realized was that Martha Stewart, Chef Ramsay, all make careers. They're chefs. They all make careers on giving you every single piece of their recipe. They even have the audacity to give you their pots and pans and put their brand on it. Give you their spatulas. I use a spatula. Here you go. Yeah. They give you everything. They give you the recipes for like their best cheeseburger, how they saute their onions and all of that. And none of them worry about you replacing them or taking them out of business. Why is that? There must be something to the idea that they become more powerful the more that they share. Because you're now, and the more value you give, the more valuable you become to that audience. So I can't say, like, okay, Martha Stewart's biggest recipe is a fried chicken recipe. What if I took that recipe and then I made my own and I just like changed a few things? I didn't change anything. And I tried to open up a restaurant right next door to her that's called Stewart Martha. Yeah. I'm not putting her out of business. Right. They're going to look at me and say, oh, you're inspired by Martha too? That's nice. Yeah. But I'm going to go into here. That's cool. So I think that in hip hop, that's something that the veil had to be lifted on that. And now I'm proud that I did that because I look and I see so many more people. Like, it ain't all great information, but so many more people are willing to share what they have learned. And I think that imprint is bigger than any imprint that I could ever ask for in hip hop, because we get that right. We start teaching our own, and we start teaching with the intentions of not like running somebody just through a funnel, right? And nothing wrong with funnel, but just running through a funnel. I'm going to give you a little bit of information and just let you keep getting this. If we do it with genuinely wanting to give great information, we are going to be more than just a billion, multi-billion-dollar industry. Like we can get, it can be ridiculous. Yeah, we can. What I'm basically saying is we could level up in not just the money game, but we can level up in the power structure if we give ourselves the opportunity to be vulnerable, to share, to give this information to somebody. Because here's the real facts about it. For those of you that are out there that are powerful figures that are listening to this and you feel like I'm not sharing nothing, chew on this for a second. Most human beings, even if you give them every single step of the way, won't do it. Yeah. They'll try it.
Very good point.
But the fact of the matter is, most people who got information from me, they took something that was valuable to them that may not have been the original intent of me giving the video. I wanted to teach them how to open up an email, how to make their own email list. Right. They wanted somebody to tell them that they were worthy of having an email list. Right? I didn't recognize that. I just told them, I spoke to them as the entrepreneur that I saw them to be. Yeah. But they just needed somebody who believed in them at that point in time. So for those that are scared about it, most folks, man, ain't nobody gonna take your sauce. Your sauce is not that important. Right. Your secrets is not that secretive. There's somebody out there doing something crazier than you that has shared everything that they're doing, and they became more valuable because they shared it. So that's an old school way of thinking that I'm hoping to change the narrative. I feel like it's already changed dramatically on YouTube specifically. But the secret to living is giving. If you want to make $1 million, find a way to create something that 1 million people are willing to pay $1 for. If you can find that value, right? Because we all get paid according to the I forget this quote who it was from, but we all get paid according to the size of the problem we solve. The bagger gets whatever the size of the problem that he's basically solving. He gets paid a certain amount for that, for bagging those groceries. Yeah. For the guy that's, a professional athlete that has pushed his body to the limit to provide entertainment to millions and millions across, he gets paid a certain amount. Yeah. To the guy that owns the team that he's on, he gets paid a certain amount. So we all get paid based upon, people. I know people like who don't agree with that because like, what about teachers? Sure. But at the same time, we think about the access of information. Right. And it's there. So you can make an argument, not saying that teachers are not important or they're less valuable, but to the amount, to the size of the problem that you solve. There's a gajillion teachers out there. Yeah. Yeah. But the teacher that teaches coding is a teacher that gets a little bit more than the rest of them, right? Yeah. Or the teacher that teaches a trade that most people don't have access to information on, or even decide, you know what? Forget the school system. I'm going to go open up a Udemy account and have my own. Now they get paid $400 per course per person, right? So we get paid based upon what our society views as the size of the problem that we're solving. Yes. When I saw that, I humbled myself. Yeah. My raps are not that important. My production is not that important. Yeah. But providing sounds to producers who want to have a sound like mine, that could be pretty important. That's the one. Yeah. And so it's just kind of giving you like a little free form of where my mind goes with that. But that's an important thing to really chew on. And that's what led me to ultimately doing the kind of work that I've been doing on YouTube.
To take it back to this book, I could probably answer this for myself.
Yeah, my bad. That was a question about the book, wasn't it?
No. Yo, honestly, leading up to this, I'm like, I could probably just like say a few things and this dude's just going to go and it's going to be great. It's going to be great. You're like you're the ideal guest. What was the process? How long did it take you to write this book? So let me lead it back for why I was talking about the YouTube. Yeah. I did a video called The Biggest Lie in Hip Hop, which I just talked about what that video was about. That got on the radar of a publisher
who had his own publishing company named Maurice Bassett. He watched that video and said, I think you have a book inside of you. And I think that you should give thought to writing a book.
Yeah.
I'm like early 30s. I'm not even thinking about like writing a book. I'm thinking that's later on in my career. I'm not even thinking about I'm big enough to be. But once again, we come back to that whole thing of leveling up and challenging myself. And so he sent me an email and I sent one back. We jumped on Skype and he talked about his company and how he had a series called The Prosperous DJ, The Prosperous Photographer. And he wanted to do one called The Prosperous Hip Hop Producer.
Okay.
And he wanted me to be the one that wrote it. And so in the beginning, I just sat there and I was just writing. I was writing like a long ass Facebook post.
Yeah. Because
I didn't know how to write a book. I was good in English class in high school, but I know how to piece my words together. But the structure of a book just felt so overwhelming because of how much respect I have for the craft.
Right.
But one thing that actually his wife told me, the publisher's wife, was write a table of contents first. And then from there, you have pieces to focus on.
Sure.
And instead of trying to sit there and type it out, take one chapter and just do your best to talk it out in as much detail as possible, like on a tape recorder. And so that's what I did. Like I had my phone and I would just like talk out stories that were important to the topic or the chapter at hand. And so the book itself, I broke down into you mind if I grab the book? I forget how many chapters I got. I'm up here. Please. My brain is all over the place.
Please.
So basically, the book itself is, how many chapters are we looking at? It is 13 chapters, and it goes as the tempo is chapter 1, the snare, the kick, the swing, the hi-hats, the sample, the melody. So basically, it takes you through the process of creating a beat. As I talk about different aspects of my life and what I did in it was, for instance, the tempo. I talk about in the same way that the tempo was important for establishing how fast you want a beat to be.
Yeah.
The tempo of my life was established in the very beginning of my career. Right? Or the tempo of my career was established in the very beginning of that. And so I talk about that. Like I have stories that I tell you what is the foundation of my tempo. Why do I go so fast? Why does my brain work the way it works?
Yeah.
The kick, I talk about the kick is the heartbeat of any production. Well, what is the foundation of my heart? Talk about stories about my mom. And so that's how I led it. Throughout the book, I tell stories of how, I sort of maneuvered from being in my grandmother's patio, working on beats on PlayStation, to creating a 6-figure business with Curtis King Beats. And throughout every single, certain stories, there'll be a QR code that you can scan on your phone, and it'll take you to a YouTube video that takes you right back to that time period.
Right.
And so, those features, man, made this such a great process because I got excited whenever I got discouraged about, oh my God, how many more pages? Like I have so many stories I got to tell. I had to call people. Every time I got discouraged, I got excited about what this would be for somebody who was a producer, feeling like, man, am I the only one going through this kind of shit?
Yeah, man. Yeah. And that goes back to your commitment, because I know 100 people who are writing books, who have been writing books, myself included, and it might not ever happen just because it's so easy to like you said, how many more pages? Fuck, there's so many other things I could be doing right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you just committed to it.
Well, then the flip side of this too is, I'll change what you just said. You said it might not happen. It may happen. What if it does? How about this? It may happen. And what if your bigger problem is, damn it, what's the cover going to be? It's going to happen. Like that doesn't, like, there's nobody that I think of and I'm like, oh, it's not gonna, you don't have to, no, you're gonna make that book. Yeah. But the bigger problem is, oh shit, I'm finally here.
Right.
How do I promote a book?
Yeah.
That's where I was at. Like, I was so worried about putting words in and now it seems so ridiculous to where I know I can sit down and write a book. I know what comes to making it, but I look at it, it's so ridiculous. It's words in a book. Some of them are bolded, some of them are, but the bigger problem was, damn, how do I get people to read a book from me? How do I get it in Barnes & Noble?
Yeah.
So when I was able to zoom out of my micro issue, which was just time management to get that done, I started realizing, like, anytime that I felt discouraged about continuing to write this book, I reminded myself, what is the why? Because losing sight of the why is what procrastinates us. That's what takes, but that's not even the biggest issue. The biggest problem was after it was out, it was like,
it's the book. It's the now what? It's like after the pay due set, it's like, okay, what now? What do we do now?
It's out. It's out. And I was told that if you write a book, you can get more speaking engagements. Yeah. Why did I call it? It's out. right.
So is my phone off?
My phone working. But no, it's we have to go through that. Like what you're talking about right now about like, man, you're on your head or you're on yourself about not finishing. We have to go through that.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that is going to teach us another lesson about ourselves. And so now that I know that I did it, it doesn't take pressure off. It puts more pressure on. You made a book.
Yeah.
What can't you do? So now when I have a thought, I'm like careful about this thought. Thoughts become things.
Yes.
And they have become things.
Right.
If you're going to think this, we don't fantasize in his head. We're going to do it, we're going to do it.
I love that. I love that.
As soon as I started saying I'm going to get a Tesla in 2020, not because like I'm materialistic like that, but as soon as I said it, every morning, I kid you not, every morning in the neighborhood that I live in, every single morning that I take my morning walk and I listen to Muji, I see a fucking Tesla.
Yes, go ahead.
White, black, blue, dirty, clean.
Yes.
Every single day.
Yes.
On the way here, I saw 2 white Teslas behind each other.
Yeah.
It's to the point where it's like, not being disrespectful to the universe, but it's like, okay, I fucking get it.
Yeah, right.
I did this to myself.
Yeah. Yes.
Now I have to deliver on this.
I'm laughing because my wife is going to laugh so hard when she hears this because I do the same thing with a Mercedes. I'm like, I'm going to buy a Mercedes. And I don't really even care about cars.
Yeah.
It's more just that, no, I want to buy myself a Mercedes because I'm going to make it happen. I believe in myself and I think I'm worth a Mercedes. God damn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every time we're in the road,
you see another one.
Yeah, see, that's the car I'm gonna get. You like that, right? You like it? I should get that color. It's annoying.
Some folks may say, "Oh, that's just chance. You're just focusing on it more," and and that may be it. I don't pretend to know everything or know why things are happening, but it's pretty fucking peculiar. It's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah.
And so when I see that, and I'm sure when you see that, you think to yourself, I think it's almost like there's a part of us within ourselves that is testing the truth that we already know that exists. You can have what the fuck you want.
Yes.
You can. There's a part of you that recognizes it so much that it doesn't. There's a part within you. There's a self within you, not your mind. It's detached from your mind. There's a self that exists within you that is not changing. Your mind, the reason why you can't put so much power into just your mind is because the mind you had at 16 is no way the same mind you had at 26.
Yeah.
It's no way the same mind you had at even 16 to 18 is different.
Yes.
So the mind is changing. You can't say the body. The body is changing. Right? When I asked her earlier, who's watching the watcher? You can't say it's the body watching. It's not the mind or another part of the mind.
Yeah.
Right? The mind is ever changing. There are people who go brain dead, but there's a part of them in there that is still alive and that is still able to perceive things. So that being said, when I sit back, I start realizing maybe that's a part of me testing that pure self in me and saying, well, you said I can get anything. Well, what about a Tesla?
Right.
Those are pretty expensive. Prove it to me. And then I actually went to the website and I started looking at the numbers and I was like, not right now.
Right.
I can do it this year.
I did the same thing. Yeah.
And not even I'm not even trying like flex or nothing, but I look at it and I'm like,
it was manageable.
And then I started adding features and I was like, oh, so I don't even have to do like the typical like cheap shit on it. Like I can like have what I want.
I don't have to roll down the windows like this.
Right, exactly. So I'm looking at it, I was like, I'm selling myself so short of what I can do.
That's the words I was looking for. Exactly. I'm tired of selling myself short because the way I was raised, I wasn't intentionally raised that way, but it's like people like us, we don't get Mercedes.
Yeah.
And it's not about the fucking car.
Yeah.
It's not about the car.
It's not.
Yes.
What do you think it's more about?
It's literally just, it's a cliche, but I believe in myself.
Yeah.
I'm tired of feeling like those cars are for other people because we're using car in this example, but you can
replace that
plug
with X,
anything in there,
Y, whatever you want to put that in there. Exactly.
You know? I'm tired of feeling, and really, I've never really felt this way. I just have always kind of felt like I was I feel like ashamed for thinking I deserve more. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been there. I had to talk a friend off the ledge about that recently. He's in a position where he is doing so well, but family that used to rely upon him is not doing so well, and it's from a health standpoint, and he feels almost guilty of having more space and having more room. And he's like, man, I said, bro, sometimes the biggest trick that a mind can play on us is convince us that our dojos are prisons. Said, you got to think about it. You have been used to your whole life being inside a small apartment in the name of family, which is beautiful that you made the sacrifice.
Sure.
Now God and life has gifted you a dojo where you have privacy, where you have a space, be it temporary because he's living with a friend, be it temporary. You have your own space. You're like, I'm sitting here in this big screen TV and I got place to put my books. I'm like, that sounds like a dojo. Like that sounds like a place where you can now detach from the rest of the world and be your best self. And he's like, I never thought about it like that because I felt so overwhelmingly guilty. And I get that. Yeah. But at the same time, we all have decisions to make. And we have all said yes and no to opportunities. And we've paid the price for them. And that doesn't just apply to us. That applies to family. That applies to parents. That applies to, and so you are not, it's almost like, I heard Muji said this. He said, it's better to bless people than to say that you'll pray for them. Because even sometimes our prayers can be made with egos in mind.
Oh, that's a bar and a half right there. Oh my goodness. I thought about that.
Like I'm going to pray for you. Like, oh man, you going through, I'm going to pray for you. Yeah. What if you pray for me? What if I'm like on my last dollar and you pray for me to have a big ass house? And then I get that big ass house, and you're like, that's what you need, a big ass house, and you need like, all kind of food in your house, and these things sound so great, but that is your perception of what I need in this situation. Maybe I need to be fucking broke and humbled in this situation.
Oof, yes.
Maybe I need that more so than the blessings, so that I appreciate the blessing. Because what if I get it because you prayed for it? Now I'm here and I cannot maintain it. And now I start to, this house that was whatever amount of money, I start to bring old bad habits there.
Yeah.
I got fucking Del Taco burrito wrappers all around the motherfucker. Like it's like looking like damn, like you treating this shit like an apartment in Dino. Like
yeah.
So what if I am not spiritually in a place where I am ready for that? What if life is kicking me in my ass because that is the greatest gift that I could ask for right now.
Yes.
And so I stopped saying that. Like I stopped saying that. Even though I do pray for people, when I pray to God, I don't pray that, that he solves their problems in the way that I think is fit.
Sure.
Right. So me even saying like somebody,
so interesting. Yeah.
Somebody who has like a family member that is dying in a hospital.
Yeah.
Instead of me saying like, I pray that she can pull through this. And like, you want that.
You're right.
You want that. But I think a bigger conversation is I pray that what is ultimately right in your eyes is done. Because you know what we all need. You know better than I could ever know. And then also too, I hope that she is at peace.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing I would say about my own family member. That may sound cold, but that's why I said I read that book, Thick Face, Black Heart.
Yeah.
And it helped me understand that evil plays a role in good, and good plays a role in evil. Without some of the most heinous things to happen in our society, some of the most beautiful and reputable freedom fighters would have never been born.
Yeah.
Right? But it takes a fucked up time for them to come and be in existence.
Right.
And so, you can't have a hero when everything is perfect.
Sure.
You can't have somebody that you quote, the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X. You cannot quote them if we don't go through as a people the things that we had to go through at that point in time. So I'm not saying that it's good. I'm just saying that it is what it is.
Right.
And you have to respect it for what it is because it produces good at the same time. So I stopped. if I say it, I say it not trying to be from a ego place where I say, I pray for you.
Yeah.
It's just, if anything, is like, that's me more so saying that, I love you and I want the best for the situation.
Yeah.
But sometimes what we have an idea of what the best is for somebody is not the best.
Yes.
It's how we perceive it to be, and that's the ego talking.
Yeah. Isn't that funny that if you even ask what's the best for you, we're all like so confused of what's the best for me, but somehow I'm convinced I know what's best for you. And that's what I'm going to pray for. You know what I'm saying? That's like, crazy.
For somebody may look at me and be like, cause like right now I had I got a Kia. I was washing my Kia.
Yeah.
And I messed up the mirror and it cracked.
Yeah.
And so like I had to tape it up. And so somebody be like, instead of praying for a Tesla, you need to pray for, you to get a new mirror.
Right.
No, I taped the mirror up.
Yeah.
It's there. Yeah. And I made the most out of it. Sure. I inquired how much it would be. And I said, I don't think that I want to pay that for a mirror.
Absolutely.
It's close to what I pay for the car note.
Yeah.
I'm not paying that for a mirror.
No way.
Right. And so if it is good and I have maintained it, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know what I have my mind set on, and it's not even necessarily about needing more or wanting more. Yeah. It's just the fact, like you said, it's almost like we're testing self again. Mm-hmm. And someone, we're pushing our limits, because it's not about getting the car. Because guess what? With the Tesla, it's going to come times where it breaks down. The self-driving features are not going to happen. Broken mirrors can happen that too.
Yeah.
It's not above that. But what the biggest thing that we actually want, even with that Mercedes you're talking about, is who you have to become
exactly
to receive that.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what it is. Yes. Again, I apply that to everything. Like this is not mine. I heard this is comedian Joey Diaz. He said, listen, the person I am wakes up at noon every day. Yeah. The person I want to be, the person I'm striving to be, that guy wakes up at 7. And that applies because the person I am, we drive good cars, you know what I mean? Drive a Nissan, whatever. Right. Fucked up around the edges, but same with it's gonna cost me how much to fix it to get a dent out of it?
I just ride this thing to the wheels fall off.
That's fine. You know what I mean? But the person, it's not so much the person I want to become drives a Mercedes. Mm-hmm. The person I want to become, the person I'm able to become, can take the necessary steps in order to acquire that Mercedes.
Sure. And maybe part of the lesson is, like, even for me right now, and like I said, I don't pretend to know it all. Maybe the lesson for me now is, how long I allowed this disfigurement of my mirror on my Kia is it signifies how I treat my things. Maybe that's how I treat my Tesla.
Right.
But it's still problems that I have to address in a Tesla.
Sure.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I think that so many folks, man, they try to make purist viewpoints out of things like that, or you shouldn't want that. It's not about the car, it's not about the da-da-da-da-da-da, but it is about something for you.
Yes.
And for me to judge somebody else for what they seek as valuable, more valuable than something else, that's me passing judgment. It's none of my business.
Absolutely.
Even what people think of you or think of me, it is none of my intellectual business, as Les Brown says it. It's none of my business. Because if I make it my business, I have chosen to stop what I am doing, stop what I'm working on, and deem your words to be more valuable than what I'm telling myself. That's scary. That means anybody who comes in here with a good enough argument can disrupt the peace that is within me. And I know that's not the truth.
Yes.
For any of us, it's not the truth. Like we may present versions of ourselves that are a lie, that we allow them to disrupt us, but that's not who we are.
Yeah.
We all have within us an indestructible force. And the more we clear the lens up in front of us and recognize that, the more that we're able to take those punches from life and not have to wait on the punches or not have to wait on the emotional response. Like some people I know, I tweeted it the other day. I was like, the most difficult, challenging people to work with are people who need some kind of motivation before getting to work. They need the emotion they need some kind of emotion. I need to get jacked. Man, we gotta, no.
Okay.
Show up.
Yeah. Yes.
Show up
Yes.
and allow the muse to find you. The muse won't find you doing push-ups, right? Like the muse is gonna find you already doing what you already do, which is work your ass off.
Right.
And you're sitting in front, like I'm sitting in front of a computer and I'm working on a beat. The muse ain't gonna find me sitting downstairs thinking about man, I wonder if I made this kind of beat today, man, I'll probably be back in my, no, it's going to happen when I'm actually working. Your zone doesn't happen when you're out of your zone.
Out of the zone.
You got to be in the place and the environment and sit your ass down to work for the muse to come find you. And that's been huge for me, man. That makes me realize that anytime that we have to practice on our crafts is a spiritual experience.
Yes.
That's everything.
Yeah.
Some people don't, somebody woke up this morning and no longer has the opportunity that you have today that we're complaining about.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
I do.
That
I
changes.
love it.
Changes a lot.
And that kind of speaks to ritual, right? I've been reading a lot about ritual, and like there's a book called The Power of Habit and all these things. And I don't think it was in that book. I should probably know the title before I start quoting.
It's all good.
You know how it goes. Yeah.
The information is more important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that. So it was like the first part of the book, she said she lives in Manhattan, and just paraphrasing, she wakes up every morning at 4:30 in the morning and it's cold. She forces herself to put on her workout shoes. She goes downstairs, again, Manhattan, so she hails a cab. It seems like a process, you know what I mean?
Right.
And she goes to the gym. She does it every day without fail. People ask her, you know, how do you go to the gym every day? And she says, the ritual is not going to the gym. The ritual is hailing the cab. If you put yourself,
wow.
Right?
Yeah, that's a bar.
I had to read that a few times. So she said the ritual is not going to the gym. The ritual is hailing the cab. And you can't hail a cab without your fucking shoes on. You have to go outside to even hail the cab. Once you're in the cab,
right,
you're going to the gym.
That's amazing. Because that reminds me of something that Mark Manson said in Everything's Fucked. He has a book called Everything's Fucked, right? Yeah. So he talks about how there's a struggle in all of our minds between the emotional brain and the let's just say the thinking brain, right?
Yeah.
The emotional mind is the one that's like, or the thinking brain says, we're in terrible shape. We probably should go work out. We need to probably start a regimen and start for the next, they say 26 days it takes to build a habit. Let's start today. That's what the thinking brain says. The emotional brain says, well, can we do it tomorrow?
Yeah.
And so what he was saying, Mark Manson was saying, the problem that, or the issue most people have with that is that they're trying to fight the emotional brain and the thinking brain. They're trying to start a fist fight between them that the emotional brain is going to always win. Even if you go and do the task, you're not so emotionally invested into it that you're not doing your best. The emotional brain still won.
Right.
Because if you half-ass the work, the emotional brain's like, well, are you going to really go this hard tomorrow?
Yeah.
Maybe we should just, and I use that voice to kind of like really signify what it is.
I get it.
But he says
that's what mine sounds like.
Yes, mine's for sure.
Impression.
I think all of them. But he says that the key is to if the thinking brain is actually what it is, the thinking brain should learn it should know how to negotiate with the emotional brain. So he says this, what you just said about the lady in Manhattan is that put your shoes by the door and negotiate with your brain like this. Emotional brain, I know you don't want to go work out. Yeah. But how about this? Let's just put the shoes by the door this morning or tonight before we go to sleep. Yeah. Well, what's that going to do? I'm still going to work out. I know. That's cool. But just put it by the door. Then when you wake up, the emotional brain's like, getting ready to lay on the couch all day and do nothing. And the thinking brain says, hold on, before we do that, would you mind putting the shoes on and just going outside? Just go outside and just look around. And the emotional brain is like, I don't know about this. It'll sound like a trick. Yeah. but I'll do it. Just go outside and that's it. We're going to come back in here. We're going to eat like a pig, right? Right. Whatever you want to do, just do that. Then the emotional brain puts the shoes on and it gets outside and the emotional brain says, damn, it's a really great day today. Yeah. I don't know. Do I really want to take a walk? I think I want to take a walk today. And the thinking brain says, that's a great idea.
I love it.
Negotiating. So when I stopped trying to fight, I started realizing that it's like a child. Yeah, right. I will give you your cookie if you take the medicine first. Yeah. Are you sure? Yes, I will give you the cookie. Okay. Take the medicine. Got the cookie. Okay. So I think it's the same thing with that, is that you have to be able to negotiate with your emotional mind and be able to look at that and say, damn, okay, That's why there's been such a resistance. There's no resistance there because the emotional mind feel like it made the decision to go work out.
Yeah.
Because so for instance, in that example, that emotional brain goes and takes a walk, and it's like, I felt really good today after taking that walk.
Yeah.
Thinking brain says, how would you feel if you actually, I don't know, ran?
Right.
That's when I saw that, I was like, that's all I got to hear. I get it now.
And then the emotional brain wants to take all the credit. Like, wow, we're so healthy. Look at us.
And you know what? You let
Look at us. Yeah, absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, it's driving both of those, right?
Yes.
Like the thinking brain. I think that's what makes the thinking brain so important in the equation.
Yeah.
In that it realizes my power is not trying to out emotion the emotional brain. It's in outthinking it. How do I outthinking it? By making it, like you said, feel like it made the decisions for us.
Sure. Yeah.
Fine. I'll sit in basically he said that the thinking brain is in the passenger seat and the emotional brain is in the driver's seat always.
What book is that one more time? By Mark?
Everything is Fucked.
Everything is Fucked.
So if you know, what was the first one he had?
The Secret Art to Not Giving a Fuck or something like that?
Yeah, the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
That's what it is.
It's an orange book. It's literally the same design, but in a blue book.
Right,
so,
right.
Go check that out, everybody. Like, especially if you just want somebody to talk to you in a way that if you're sick of your own bullshit,
yes,
read books like that. Like I think
absolutely.
it's everybody needs that. That's why I love reading books by Grant Cardone. The 10X Rule is another one that I love.
Yeah.
He got a chapter called "Stop Being a Little Bitch."
I love it, bro. That's how I talk to myself. That's how I talk to myself. And then I tone it down and talk to my son that way. But you can't say, yo, stop being, you're a bitch right now. You know what I mean? But first I got to have that conversation with myself.
Sure,
you know what I'm saying?
You got to lead by example, man.
Yes, absolutely, man.
My buddy told me that about, because he was kind of like talking to me about the things he's learning about his son. His son's a lot older than my son. But he was like, one thing he's figuring out in fatherhood is that your kids learn more by what you do rather than what you say. He says, so I've been focusing on doing the things that I want him to do.
Right.
All right, clean up your room. Well, your studio's not clean, so.
Yes.
Why would I do that?
And that's a win-win, man, because you hold yourself accountable. Yes. And then at the end of the day, his room's clean and your room's clean. Yes. You feel better when your room's clean.
Everybody's in a better place.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a win-win. Man.
Yes.
And the emotional brain is taking credit for all of that.
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine. I love it. I just a few more things. You good on time?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. I know you got a chance to work with Nipsey Hussle.
Yes.
I saw a picture of you and Noah with him in the studio.
Right.
What was that experience like?
At the time, I knew, like, you know how you meet people and you're so in your own mind or your own bullshit that you don't recognize, like, this is a special moment.
Yes.
That wasn't one of those. I recognized that was a special moment because I was nervous as hell.
Yeah.
If you watch the longer version, basically Noah and I were invited, and shout out to Murs because he was the one that really put that together.
Okay.
And he's very tactful. Like he's very like strategic. He knows what he's doing when he does certain things. He wanted us to be exposed to the energy of somebody that was young as Nipsey,
right? That
was doing things so strong on an independent level. Yeah. And I knew we were in a room with somebody that was a boss, right? Yeah. Even before the rest of the world, I felt like really knew. We knew. Yeah. And so we basically were on a live stream to discuss the paid dues lineup that year. And we had an opportunity to really just chop it up on a live stream, answer live questions from people in there. And he was just cool as hell. He was cool.
Okay, because that's the same year that you guys were on.
Well, we were hosting one of the stages as Black Cloud. Okay, and he was coming on there because the year before something had happened where he was supposed to be performing on paid dues.
Yeah, I remember
something happened with like a plane or something. But
the
next year, Murs brought him back. Okay, to be on there as one of the headliners, and so, as one of the headliners, and so. So like we all had like our kind of our script, like, they told us in the beginning, you announce these names, you guys announce these names, and then just chop it up with the audience in there. But honestly, to be in his presence, I didn't say it then, but I felt it then. I was like, I wonder if this is what it would have felt like to be around Pac. Because, he was so far removed from my age group, Pac was.
Sure.
There wouldn't be an opportunity where I would be, some 12 or 13, whatever I was when he passed away.
Right.
11. I was 11.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I was 10. We're basically the same age.
Yeah, it's about 11.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been making no kind of beats that would have put me in a studio with Tupac. But I sat there with Nipsey and I was like, there's something about his demeanor and his presence and the fact that he says a lot less than you know that he knows, but he does a lot of observing that lets me feel like, I wonder that energy, like that energy that you're in the presence of an icon. I felt that. I felt that then.
In the making, an icon in the making.
In the making. But I even think that for the area that he's from and for what he stands for in terms of the evolution of the hip hop entrepreneur and just entrepreneurship in general. There's a lot of things that he was early to. Bitcoin that he I feel like brought into the culture in a way that folks that wouldn't have gave a damn about a Bitcoin started caring about. And a lot of stuff about mental health and preservation. And I think that people are recognizing now and kicking themselves in the ass for not seeing it, but I saw it. I watched the interviews. I made $100 box full of all of my CDs and DVDs, all my music videos when I was with Black Cloud because he did the $100 album.
Right.
And so I knew it. When he followed me, I was bugging out. Like when he after that event, I was bugging out. And so that was amazing to at least say that I was in the presence of somebody that has made that much impact on my life and the life of so many folks, especially out this way, but really around the world. Yeah, that's I had to ask. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. You know? It's all good. And once again, we go back to the whole. That was such a quick moment.
Right.
It was a 1 hour live stream or something close to that, 30 minutes, whatever. We was in there for a good amount of time, and when the cameras weren't on, we weren't like in there. I wish I could say we was in there talking and having all kind of. But he was very quiet at the time, and probably just how he did as a default. Just you never know who you around or who's saying what or. But I knew that it was special then. That was one thing that I think all of us recognized. It was special to be in that moment. And when he passed away, man, I growing up was a biggest Kobe fan that you could even think of. But I took Nipsey Hussle's passing a lot harder than Kobe's. And not to compare them, because I don't think there's any comparison to anybody's passing. But it hit me harder. And I think it was because, one, it was on camera. Two, it was in front of his place of business in broad daylight. Three, it was so unexpected and it was so a situation that could have been avoided. It just, man, I wasn't ready for that one. I wasn't ready for that one, but it definitely inspired me to really take more advantage of the time that I have.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's the takeaway lesson right there.
For sure. Yeah.
You once talked about, and you refer to it as struggle rap.
Right.
And you had said, it was a while ago that you were talking about that, and it made me look at the music I was listening to, and occasionally I'll still dabble in that. You know what I mean? But just like you've been saying, the trick is to be aware and be conscious of it.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And for people who don't know what we're talking about, it's particularly in hip hop and even more particularly like in underground hip hop, it's easy to get into, I think I talked about this with Noah. It's easy to fall into that, we label it as, we listen to conscious hip hop,
right.
But underneath all, and not shitting on them at all.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm still a big fan of a lot of it,
Sure.
But when you step back and you look at the diet, like your musical diet, you're like, wow, so this song's about fuck the government, but not like in a watch. I'm gonna get it anyway. It's like poor me, poor me music.
The government is against me.
Yes, yeah.
My friends are probably snakes.
Yes.
This industry is full of snakes. I sometimes doubt myself. Sometimes I don't want to live. Imagine if all those topics, you remove the beat and you and I just talked about that for hours and hours upon hours.
Yes.
How about let's say the average album at that time was like an hour.
Yeah.
You and I talking about all the things that you're observing that are against you for an hour would be fucking draining.
Absolutely.
And you would probably, if I was doing that with you, you probably would feel like, man, I can't kick it around Curtis no more.
Yeah, straight up.
But put it to a beat, add a nice cadence. People are literally being hypnotized into submission and have no idea. I was too.
Sure.
And that's not to, I'm not dissing anybody in the underground scene who does that.
Right.
I just want them to recognize that your tongue has power. Your words have power. And if you continue to find yourself year after year, like I was, in the same financial position, if not worse, no matter how successful you are in terms of building your following, could it have something to do with what you repeatedly repeat within your music?
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about, you got to talk about like what you want to aspire to have, or you got to talk about having all of this money. I'm saying, could the fact that you keep saying in every song how broke you are be the reason why not only you're broken financially, but you're broken spiritually? If I think about this, like I'm an independent artist that made songs about Ratchet still jocking, even though I'm feeling bummy, man, a Ratchet still jocking. I ain't got no money in my pocket. I did that on tour. Yeah. Across the USA. All across 25 states, 52 cities. And I repeated a mantra of being broke over and over. You don't think that I came home broke? Yeah. I came home in more debt than I left. And I'm not saying that was directly related, but what I'm saying is that you repeat something, positive or negative, it becomes a part of your psyche. It becomes a part of the mantra that you believe in, and it's so much more powerful when you repeat it, because now it's even there embedded on a subconscious level. Right. So a lot of the music we listen to, even if it's conscious or even if it's about, F these females, it's all promoting some kind of mantra or some kind of habit or some kind of way of thinking that maybe at 16 sounds pretty lit. Yeah. At 28, sounds fucking ridiculous. Yes. Right? And I'm not, like I said, this is not me making it an old against young. I'm just saying, if you know better, do better. Because you're going to be in a situation where you're 16 years old and you're talking about what most 16-year-olds can relate to. I don't got a whole lot of money, but like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm kind of handsome. The girls like me. Or the opposite. I ain't got a whole lot of money and man, girls don't like me, man. Man, they can be assholes sometimes, man. Like they talk about me. And then you wonder 10 years from then, you're 26 and you're like, okay, I've been repeating the same thing. I'm still broke. Yeah. And then my fans are not even here with me anymore. Why? Because they decided, that doesn't relate to me anymore. You know what? I met the woman of my dreams and I don't feel the same way about women anymore. Yeah. You know what? I had a kid and I don't think I want to have him in the car committing to the same mantras that I committed to at 16. Yes. At 6 months. So when I looked at it like that, I started realizing I was in the gym and I couldn't listen to my favorite hip hop underground records because I was like, damn, yes, there is beauty in consoling with others who are going through the struggle. Sure. There's beauty in that, but that's not the end goal. Right. The end goal is to help people get out of that struggle. Right. It's okay to say, man, look, I know what you're going through. Yeah. I know what you're going through, bro. Like, I sympathize with you. But to me, it's more productive for me to be like, what can we do to help you get out that? Yes. Here's what I did. And I feel like these books help me. Maybe this will help you. I feel like that's where I'm coming from with it. I remember somebody said, it might have been Les Brown, but he was like, you ever notice when you tell people, man, like, how you doing? And you say, I feel like shit, man, this day has just been dragging on. How many more people say, I feel you? As opposed to when you say, how you doing this morning? Man, I'm feeling fucking great. Yeah. And they're like, what's wrong with him? Right. Is less people who want to be there for that moment to be happy. So if that's human beings, that's why I say, you know, with a lot of the music, man, you got to be careful of what you're putting in your ears, because you're probably spending more time with that than you're actually spending with your own thoughts and your own self-building.
Sure.
So when I recognized that I was spending more time listening to artists that were consoling me because I was broke, as opposed to reading books that were going to help me not be broke, I had to change something.
Yes.
Because I was tired of being fucking broke. I didn't want nobody to pat me on the back and say it's going to be all right. Fuck that. Let's flip this. Let's do something, because I'm not finna be going through the same shit at 32 that I was going at 16. I would feel ridiculous.
Absolutely. As you should. As anyone should.
Half your life.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
You trying to tell me you had 16 years and you're still young and you're like, okay, I didn't know no better. And then you doubled it.
Yeah.
And ended up in the same exact place.
Yes.
That's something that you talk about like a relentlessness. I don't even view it as that, because I'm just like, that's life or death for me. Right. I refuse. There's no way in hell 16-year-old me who had all of these aspirations is going to look up. There's no way at 16 years old, because when we were all younger, we have these big elaborate dreams of where we see ourselves before we hit 30.
Sure.
There's no way that I could look at myself and at 16 and say, man, one day I hope, man, like after all this hard work, going through this industry bull that I know I'm finna go through, all these collaborations, all these songs, all of these bad mixes and good mixes, and going through engineers and going through producers, man, all of these things that I'm working to get to. I hope I'm in the same exact damn place that I'm in right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Who says that?
Nobody.
You know, but a lot of people live that by listening to stuff. So not to beat over a dead horse, but that's where I made a change from listening to struggle rap, unless I had a better relationship with myself to understand what the purpose of that music is. Struggle rap is good when you're going through the struggle and you need a hug. Okay. We all need a hug when we're going through stuff like that. But if somebody hugs you too long, you can't move and you can't walk and do something about that shit.
I love it.
So, yeah.
That's such a beautiful way to put that. Yeah. Yeah, man. And that's definitely helped me personally. A lot of the shit you be talking has helped me, you know, but that's definitely one of them.
I appreciate it.
Oh,
I got a question for you too, by the way, man. I got a question. And we never talked about this too.
Yeah.
So you made an article. You remember the article you made?
I did.
You made an article. And it took me by surprise for a few different reasons. And not because of anything bad, but because it was, I guess, an eye-opener to a dialogue that wasn't being had with me, because people weren't, I guess, telling me maybe what they told you, or maybe the conversations you had. For those that don't know, there was an article that popped up, I believe it was either on your blog or your website. And there was a lot of stuff that was going on at that time that was like, I would check out every single post because I was promoting music. I had albums out and whatnot. You never know what somebody, especially when people do a think piece about something that I've done, I try to read every single one of them. Right. Bad, good, negative, positive, doesn't matter to me. I want to read what somebody took their time to have thoughts about. And it was really like, it was kind of like you were kind of defending me, but then at the same time, I didn't know that I needed to be defended from I guess the kind of like the overall topic of it was like, why don't people like Curtis King, or why are there certain people that don't like Curtis King? You know, and you broke down a lot of stuff that you talked about today, but I always wanted to ask you about that. Like what inspired you to write it, or even made you feel like I want to get these words out there? Because I think that you gave a very balanced point of view of, well, I could see how people could feel this way, but at the same time, at the end of the day, he's doing this. And
Yeah. It's I'd have to go back and read it. It's been several years, I think. I believe it was called The Audacity of Curtis King, right? Because you're an audacious individual. Yeah. And I mean that in the best way possible, right? And it's funny you bring this up, because that is something I kind of wanted to talk about, and if I was okay if we didn't get to it. But and it speaks more to the company I was keeping at the time. Within the scene, you know what I mean? Other rappers, musicians, and all that. You would come up occasionally, and more often than not, and it's more just a few people, you know? And I don't even think they know you. They just know of you, right? And I would hear things like, you know, Curtis King is annoying. Curtis King is thirsty. And I don't know. I doubt anything like surprises you, right? Because we've already talked about that. Like with that, you've even said with that relentlessness, you know, you can come off really strong.
Well, then also too, I know that there may be truth in all of that, but I think that the issue is when what I would do in the past, which is take one of those things and let it define who I am. But no, that I think that anybody can make an argument for any. That's why I always say, like, the more I know, the more I feel like I don't know.
Yes.
But that's why, like I said, it was eye-opening for me, because I was like, not so surprised that people felt this way, but I guess the way that it was worded made me feel like, well, maybe it's a lot more people than I thought that feel this way.
And see, that wasn't my intention.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't know if it was like you tapped into an undercurrent that I would never cross with, because everybody that I see and I talk to are like, oh, Curtis, man,
sure.
Hey, you know.
Yeah, and see, and really what it was is I didn't feel the need to defend you. I barely know you, especially back then, you know what I mean? But I never joined that conversation just because I've always, again, let's give myself a lot of credit. I've recently developed this philosophy. I never talk bad. I try to never talk bad about people who very clearly work a lot fucking harder than I do.
Yeah.
Well, regardless of whether I like what they're doing or whatever, like, you know, if he's working harder than me, if she's working harder than me, I'm going to shut the fuck up because I have no room to talk about anything. Right. And so the company I was keeping at the time, it would keep coming up. It never really made me think about you because I already had my opinions on you, you know, and they were good opinions, but it more made me think, okay, but like, why do they feel this way? Because they hear the same music I do. They see the same grind that I do on your part. Right. And so what is it about? How can two people be friends and we have such vastly different perspectives on something? And so then I start thinking, okay, so this person that's saying these things, they're also, you know, this, fill in the blank. They're also miserable. They're also broke. They would never in a million years have the balls to go on camera, on microphone or whatever. Right. And so they just play the background, the peanut gallery, you know? And so then I realized it's the age old thing. Like, oh, it's just coming from a place of insecurity.
Sure.
You know, and ironically, not ironically at all, you're now way more famous and accomplished than all of those people. You know what I mean? And
and that's never, and that's to me, like, that's what you're talking about, what you're developing in is the same thing I'm developing right now as well. In that I try to look at it, I try to look at things from a more balanced place because, not to go too far off topic, but like when I heard the news about Kobe and like couldn't believe that I was getting text about him dying, and I get on social media, that's always the wrong. I feel like that's always the wrong thing to do. I went on there and I started looking at the trending topics to see if somebody had more information than the other people, and in the midst of that, I saw like people killing off all of his kids. And saying like, oh, I think all of his kids were on the plane. Right. I saw people saying Rick Fox was on the plane.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I'm like, regardless if it got proved to be not true, I still feel that.
Right.
It happened. I had an experience where I read something that was distressing and it made me get so judgmental about people. People were making helicopter jokes. People were talking about the rape case before, you know, the smoke even clears off of the helicopter.
Yes.
And I started thinking to myself, before I pass judgment on these people, flip the script. If this happened to somebody that I don't necessarily agree with the views of or like the way that they do things, like a Trump, would I be them? Right? And would I be justified amongst my friends to talk shit about, oh, he did this and this and that, and this is why? Would I be my friends would probably, like, I'll be honest with you, my timeline, the majority of them would probably be talking shit. Would probably be like, well, yeah, see, that's why you can't do that. It's karma. But if I'm looking at this and I'm saying I'm really on my spiritual journey and I'm really at a more balanced place in my life, I got to be able to insert whoever you insert and say, do those same better than thou, morals apply to the situation. And so I say that to say that balance is something that I'm grateful that there were dialogues like that.
Yeah.
Even for those people. Like I said, me being successful was never there was never about anybody else. It was an inside job from the very beginning. It was an inside job. How can this kid that didn't have enough confidence to express himself in middle school, elementary, around family members, my mom would say, do that dance you do. And I couldn't do it because I'd be so shy.
Yeah.
How could that person break through so many insecurities and so many barriers and become a name that people would not even think it was possible that I could be an introvert?
Yes.
That was always the inside job. And then how can I raise the bar from there? Mm-hmm. And so now, even where I'm at right now, like I don't feel any peace being like, yeah, are they talking shit now? That don't do anything for me. Like,
okay.
Because I feel like then it would be my biggest critique about Michael Jordan is that he spent a second or any of his time talking about all the people who had sided him, or all the people who had basically didn't believe in him.
Right.
That's your fucking Hall of Fame speech.
Yes.
And you're worried about the people who didn't put you on a varsity team on high school?
It made me cringe a little bit. Yeah.
It makes you ask the question. Two questions it makes me ask. One, are you really happy being the greatest basketball player of all time?
Right.
And two, is that the amount of bitterness that you have to live with when you want to be the greatest of anything of all time? When I saw that, I said, I'm okay being 76th best rapper in the world, right? 766. I don't care as long as I can look and say I am the happiest. If I can be high on the happy list,
right?
You could say whatever you want. You could say I'm corny. You could say I'm cheesy. I'm long-winded. You could say that I'm whatever. I've heard it all. But I think what's most important is now finding the ability to, like, even on the way up here, like the homie Daylight, who's like huge in battle rap. And he's done great things for the culture. I used to be his manager at Quiznos, and he typed it. He's like,
no shit.
He was like, I'm just sitting back thinking about how crazy it is that Curtis King was my manager at Quiznos. And then I'm like, responding back to it. I'm like, LOL, like fun facts. It's been a blessing to see your rise. That's a positive exchange. And then somebody out of nowhere is like, but is anybody going to talk about how trash his beats are? And they put some meme, and I'm just like, I'm thankful for the first time in my life probably that I read that, and internally I didn't feel but a tinge. Like in the beginning, like not in the beginning, like probably not even like a year ago. Yeah, I'd read that, and for a split second, my blood would kind of boil a little bit. Sure, right? I'd feel it. Or I feel like, what do I have to do? I got to respond. I got to be smarter or snarkier, say something. Yes. I saw it, and it was like, oh shit. Next one. Huh. And then it was like a genuine moment. Yeah. Then it was just like, is it unappealing to be on my timeline? Yes. So mute them. It's gone. Yeah. Didn't respond. Didn't say anything snarky. And I still was able to keep with my source and my soul, which is being a kind person. Like, no matter how you see me, like a lot of folks get to misconception. I'm not saying that. By no means am I bringing that up to say like, you single me out, or I'm glad that you made that, because it opened my eyes to the other perspectives that were being ignored. I think they rightfully so had they had the right to feel that way about me, because I can see from their perspective how I can look that way or thirsty or annoying, but it's necessary. It's all necessary, because inevitably, it leads to a better me. Yes. Fuck the accomplishments, fuck all the money, it leads to a better me. Yeah. That's the best I could think of. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I'm glad you actually brought that up. I'm glad we could talk about that. For sure. Yeah. I was just curious. I was like, man, it came so out of left field for me. But I'm thankful because it made me look around and be like, maybe everybody's not your friend. Yeah. And I'm glad you said it, because I did come to find out it wasn't the fact that you said it that made it fact. It was the fact that in a lot of places it was fact. Yeah. Because of the way that I presented myself. Sometimes I was a bit more louder than I needed to be.
Sure.
A little bit more, in people's face when I didn't need to be. And the moment that I disappeared, the moment that I fell back, I became more appreciated. And that was a lesson I had to understand. And so now I only come out for folks that I truly love what they're doing, I appreciate, I believe in, and I support 1,000%. If I don't, I don't even wink an eye at it. But I needed to have that eye-opening moment of saying, everybody's not your friend.
Yeah.
Everybody's not supporting what you're doing, but go anyways. Right?
Yes.
It's needed. It's needed.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you said it, because nobody else had the balls to even put something else like that out there.
Yeah. And it's funny, just so it's said, these people that in particular, they talk about everyone.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Which at first it was like, I kind of felt the need to defend you, like I heard you mention, but then it's like, all right, well, why do they feel that way?
Sure.
And then once I came to that conclusion, well, they obviously feel that way because they say these things about everyone, right? Yeah. Because they're miserable people, not irredeemable. You know what I mean? But at this moment, they're miserable people. And then I turned to myself like, well, why the fuck do I hang out with them? Because they ain't helping me. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Flip side of that, how about we flip that even more? Y'all are talking about somebody that, or not y'all, but those individuals were talking about somebody that was accessible enough energetically to be worth a conversation. That means on some level, I appeal to the lower form of them as well.
Yes.
So I have some responsibility in that.
Okay.
Me understanding that now helps me understand that nobody people don't just pop up out of nowhere and decide I'm going to be an asshole and I'm going to troll you. You have to do something that resonates with a part of them, whether it's a part of them they don't want to acknowledge, whether it's a part of them that they're not ready to unleash, whether it's a part of them that actually is current to who they are.
Yeah.
You have to do something to get on their radar. Because if that wasn't the case, there'd be somebody right now in Scotland I'd be talking shit to.
Yeah.
Because I don't agree with what they say.
Right.
They're not in my sphere. They're not even I'm not even thinking about this person.
Yeah.
But if they did say something like, I don't think that Kobe should be mourned the way that he should, now you're on my radar.
Right.
Because now that's triggering to a lower energetic form of me.
Yes.
That's making me want to say something. And now I want to, but that's what I'm saying is that at some point I had to let them, I had to do something that captures the attention of that. Maybe it was the kind of music I was making.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the fact that I was an underground artist. Maybe it was the fact that I made music that appealed to lower frequencies in people. I'm okay with that. Understanding that that's what it was, I'm okay with that. Because now at this frequency, it's not a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right? Except for the right people.
It's the better quality of people.
That's why coming out here from Diego is not even a question, bro. Like, I know.
I appreciate that.
The frequency is there. I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that means a lot. I appreciate that. Let me start this one more time, and then I got a little like five little questions.
Okay,
quick ones.
You all good? Plus, you give me an excuse to go get some vegan food out. And,
what's that?
Plus, you give me an excuse to go get some vegan food away from the house. No, you good. You are good. My wife hit me, was like, are you going to go to, oh my God, what's the name of it? So are you going to go to Monty's? I was like, maybe.
Oh,
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard of Monty's.
If the wind pushes me that direction, maybe I'll go to one. Maybe I'll go to one. I don't know.
Are you a vegan? Or are you just dabbling in vegan cuisine? Because I do.
Yeah. Vegetarian more so than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, vegan is like, it's a little bit extreme for me. Not at this point, but vegetarian.
Yeah.
Still keep some little dairy intake.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like vegetarian is definitely more so for me.
Yeah, I was raised vegetarian actually until my teenage years, and then I the first meat experience I had was just thought I might pause that.
It's all good. I was thinking I wasn't gonna say nothing. I'll let you get that.
It was a crunchy taco from Taco Bell of all things, and
that's a gateway drug.
Yo, my third eye opened. I was like, yo, what?
That's a gateway drug. Don't
things
do that.
Can taste this way.
The first meat that you have is from Taco Bell.
Yes.
I'd pray for you after that.
Yeah, man.
You may never go back.
Some things are better left like unimagined and unrealized.
I feel like bacon was that for me.
Yes.
I wish I've never experienced bacon.
Yeah.
Because now when like if I smell it and I smell like the honey, is it? The wood, the apple, maple.
The apple wood. Yes.
That's my one weakness, and I haven't had it. I haven't had meat like pause. I haven't had seafood. Oh, I've had seafood, but I haven't had any kind of like other meat in 3-something years, 4 years. But like, yeah, man, I don't have no desire to go there, especially after I got sick last time. I was like, I don't want nothing.
Yeah,
I got some Taco Bell when I got sick last time.
Right. Oh, you got Taco Bell and then you got sick, you said?
Yeah. Well, I think it was a stomach flu, but it was a Taco Bell that got thrown up.
Right.
So your mind is like,
absolutely.
It's Taco Bell's fault.
Yeah, definitely, man. And it's probably better that you don't include that in your diet anyway. You know what I mean? That's a win-win.
It was a win-win for me to get that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So 2 things, and we talked about you making soulful music, particularly like maybe your sample choices or whatever. Mm-hmm. In, I believe the song's 21/7?
21/7,
21/7.
Yeah.
There's the Marvin Gaye sample, right? It starts, that's how your album starts. I believe that album is DIY.
The EP, yeah.
Yes. And then much later, you did Raging Waters, and on the intro, that was the Stevie Wonder.
Yes,
right.
Sir.
And both times, I was like, oh, we grew up essentially in the same home because that's what my parents used to play, right? And those are like, you took the piece of each of those songs that I love. I feel like that's the most recognizable part of those songs. And the irony is that there's not even words. They're just sounds,
scatting.
But it was so powerful, right? So I just had to say, like, those are my favorite beats that you've made.
I appreciate that,
they're amazing pieces of music.
Thank you.
But with that said, and I asked Noah this, so I'm gonna see how yours stacks up against his.
Okay.
Marvin Gaye or Stevie Wonder?
Marvin Gaye.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just Stevie Wonder has classic. I mean, they both got classics, but Stevie Wonder has songs that I love a lot more than full bodies of albums. What's Going On?
Yes.
Marvin. The Transitions is one of my favorite albums of all time. And then just hearing his journey of spirituality is very inspiring to know that he had to go off the grid for a second and come back strong.
Sure. Yeah, Noah said, I like Marvin with the kufi, with the beard. And the kufi. Yeah, that was Noah's response. Man. Yeah. Okay. So we went with Marvin. All right. So another one I asked him, but I'm actually going to take it a little further. I know we're both married men, so just we'll throw that out there. But we have eyes, So I asked him.
I know what you're talking about. I ain't got no eyes. My wife don't. I ain't got no eyes.
You don't have eyes? Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. You see, I don't know what you're talking about.
As long as my wife got hands, I don't have eyes.
Her eyes a lot stronger. Her hands a lot stronger than my eyes. Go ahead.
So I asked Noah, Fresh Prince or Martin, right? But I'm gonna ask you, Hillary from Fresh Prince or Denise from The Cosby Show. So that's Karen Parsons or
Denise.
Lisa Bonet. Denise, you went Denise with it.
That's Lisa Bonet, right?
Yes.
She looks like my wife. Like she reminds me of, because my wife has
now
braids.
You got eyes.
Yeah, I got eyes.
Now you got eyes.
I told her that too. My wife is like I used to get a lot of people saying Lisa Bonet. And I was like, yeah, I think that might have been my appeal to you.
Yes.
Yeah, Lisa Bonet.
Well played, sir. I love that. I love that.
See how I had that scene?
Oh yeah.
So I might get like a nice little slap on the back of the neck, but
it'll come with a smile.
It's not gonna be a full on punch.
Right. Okay. That was great. Mastery. What's scarier, snakes or spiders?
Snakes or spiders?
Or either scary?
I think, damn, that's a good question. I say probably spiders because I've tried to kill some that I thought were like brown recluse.
Yeah.
I'd hit them and they disappear. And then you don't know where they're at. A snake?
The worst. Yeah.
The worst thing I ever heard about a snake was when I don't know why this old lady told me this. She's like make me almost like never want to use the bathroom again. I do, but she said,
I was wondering.
Yeah, she was like, what did she say? She said, have you ever heard the story about the snake that came through the toilet?
Yeah, we've heard that one. We've all heard that one.
What you mean? She broke that out. I was like, man, I ain't never gonna sit down. I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but yeah, but like, no, definitely. Like, I don't see enough snakes to even have that. But spiders,
sure.
Yeah, nah, spiders. I'll walk on the other side of the street. I just
Same here, baby. Same
you know
here.
what? You a black widow. You know what? This is your world.
Yeah.
It's not even my world no more.
Right. Okay. So, fitness question: you prefer weights or cardio?
Cardio.
You strike me as a cardio guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
You trying to say I ain't buff, man? I get it. It's all good. No, cardio, because I love. I've got less injuries on cardio. First of all,
Sure.
When I lift weights, I get all kind of crazy stuff. Like I got wrist injury, all kind of crazy stuff. But
wait. Before you say it, let me say why you strike me as a cardio person. Because, and it's why I fail at cardio, right? Weights is like, we're gonna get in there, we're gonna lift weights, and you know what I mean? It's like an ego thing.
Yeah.
Cardio, long distance running, stuff like that, it's a very meditative.
Yes.
That's why I know you're a cardio person.
That was going to be my answer too. So
okay,
no,
that's why. Yeah.
No, the treadmill, man. I've been able to get my music, and it's crazy because with doing cardio, it builds up within you. It builds that relentless muscle to the point where I find myself like, because we all get to a point where we're working on music and we're like, man, I've been working on this for a long ass time.
Yeah. Is
there any potential? And then you're like, man, just push another 30 minutes. Yeah. Like, just get it. Like, you finished, say you did finish a beat you like, but you're like, man, I don't want to arrange it. Then you say, just arrange it. One more step. Same thing when I get to like mile and a half.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, I really don't want to keep running. But then you get the right song, 2 miles come up like nothing.
Yeah.
I like the fact that I'm building that muscle up.
Yes.
More than anything else. But I enjoy both, but no, cardio for sure.
Sure. Okay. This is a hard question. Favorite beat of all time, hip hop beat. What's your go-to?
Oh, it's got to be a hip hop beat?
Yes. Oh, if you have another one, say, but I am curious about the hip hop beat.
Art of Noise, Moments in Love.
Okay.
It's not a hip hop beat. It uses certain elements that are hip hop, but my favorite beat of all time, hip hop wise, the instrumental for Pete Rock and CL Smooth, Troy, Reminisce Over You.
That one, right?
Man, I get like
the greatest.
I get goosebumps even when you do that right now.
Yeah.
Like, I get goosebumps just thinking about that. Like, it's one of those songs where, as a kid, I didn't recognize how sad it was.
Yes.
And what he was actually talking about.
Yes.
It was just something that felt so good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got older and I started recognizing like, oh wow, like he's remembering people that have passed away. And I'm like, yo, it takes another meaning, but I'm like, that's why it felt so good to, 14-year-old me, 15-year-old me. I had no idea what it was. But yeah, that one right there.
Okay.
Man, and then probably, I already gave you the answer. I'm about to say it's probably that, or Jay Dilla's Fantasy, or Jay Dilla's Fall in Love.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom,
is that a Slum Village?
Yes,
yeah, that's a Slum Village song. Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
And it's the most simple, like even like when you think about the Art of Noise. Boom, boom,
yes.
Boom, 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 boom. It's some of my favorites, and it's like those have probably more nostalgic value than actual production value.
Sure.
But I love
all my favorite songs do.
Yeah.
It's all nostalgia more than anything. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Art of Noise is one of those songs where it's like, I can't think of another instrumental that has followed me from childhood to first kiss.
Sure.
To first sex.
Yeah.
to relationships. To getting married, to my son being born, like to my first time with a cougar, to like all these different things that have happened that were like moments in my life that I'll never forget. It just came on like the radio station. The radio just randomly plays it. Or I come home from like a date with my wife that I have now. Like I come home from one of our first dates dating, and then the radio, turn it on.
Yeah. It's
That
just
song,
always
I'm
been in
like-
the soundtrack.
It's like
yeah.
Tesla, man. It
Yeah,
ain't going nowhere.
right. Okay. 2 more. Top 5 favorite producers.
It changes for me.
Sure.
The Neptunes,
Mm-hmm.
Timbaland, Just Blaze.
No one ever says Just Blaze, and that's my
It's
favorite.
necessary, man.
Yes.
Just Blaze. Did I say Dilla already?
No.
Dilla,
Okay.
for sure. And then number 5. Number 5, I'll probably put Ninth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably put Ninth.
That's a solid little top 5, man.
Throw my 5 in there in the game.
Yeah.
We're not getting blown out.
No.
Show. No.
Yeah, I love it. All right, same question for rappers. Top 5 MCs. They're your favorite MCs, you know?
Andre 3000.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's my favorite, that's a lot easier to do my favorites.
Yeah, exactly.
Andre 3000, Jay-Z,
That's my top 2 right there. Okay.
Tupac.
Okay.
Who else are we talking about? Trying to think of who else is in my playlist. That to me, like, man. Oh man. Who did I say? I said Andre 3000,
You said 3K,
Jay-Z.
Hove,
Tupac.
Man,
it's like my favorites. I mean, there's people out there that I could name, but my favorites.
Yeah.
I think that's because I was so late to Nipsey's music. I was more so with his entrepreneurship. I would say Nipsey, and I think that's gonna be because Spotify. I tell you how much I didn't play his music.
Right.
But man, this is rappers. I was not expecting that one. I just haven't listened to a lot of rap. To be honest with you, I have not listened to a lot of rap in the last 6 months.
Okay.
So like I'd have names, but I'm like, nah, I wouldn't put them in the top 5 list for me.
Okay. What's one of those names that you're on the fence
Busta
about?
Rhymes.
Oh, okay. No one ever says Busta Rhymes. I love
Busta,
it.
he birthed so many different styles. Man.
Yes.
People sleep on that.
I know. How is Busta Rhymes like one of the most famous, but he's also still slept on? How does that work? How can it be both?
He's had a very weird career because even
has.
like when you think about albums, like his albums didn't do as well as his singles did.
Yes.
His singles were always like, people couldn't take a whole album, I guess, from him.
Right. Like a Missy.
I'm tripping. Kendrick. Yeah, Kendrick.
Okay.
Kendrick.
Noah said Kendrick too. Okay.
Yeah, Kendrick
cool.
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna even it out like that. I'm gonna make it 2 new and 3 of the legends.
Okay.
I hate to separate Andre 3000 from Outkast, but I love Big Boy too. But no,
Yeah.
Andre
yeah.
just found a way to he strung poetry in a way over beats that made him really, really cool to me.
Yes. I completely agree. He's
Right.
my favorite of all time.
Same here. Same
Yeah.
here. It's a damn shame that he deals with the biggest struggles of them all for artists of being that sensitive about his craft and everything.
Yes.
Like I really do wish I could just like build up a friendship with him
Yeah.
and be able to encourage him. Not saying like I got this extra power, but I just feel like the things I heard him talk about in that interview
Yeah.
that you took the photos for,
Yeah.
I was like, man, I get it, bro. But I get it in a way that is so detached from the industry. And I'm pretty sure most of his friends are like somehow related to that.
Right.
I felt like I could help. I really felt like I could help.
Yeah.
Or at least be able to, but maybe that's me trying to, once again, I pray for you. But maybe that's my ego talking. But I just really, when I listened to that interview, I was talking to my wife. I was like, man, I really feel like I could help this. And I wouldn't want to help so I could be like, I helped. I just want to help because I really appreciate who he was to me growing up and the role model that he was. And even as a lyricist, my rap style, people are like, oh my God, you don't ever rap to the beat. Okay.
Yes.
Go listen to Andre 3000, A Day in the Life. Listen to Elevators. Like that's the birth of my style.
Yeah.
Is literally there. People think it's Micah 9. I'm like, wait, I'm pretty sure that maybe he listened to, but this is who I consumed. He was more of my generation, but no, that's why I rap the way that I rap.
That's awesome, man. That's so dope to know. It's a cool little fun fact.
I don't think I've ever disclosed that before either.
And not at
so-
all surprising, to be honest. But yeah, as a big fan of him and you, like I could definitely connect those dots.
No pun intended.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you said, me and you. No pun intended. Yeah, go ahead. That's funny.
Yeah, man. All right, bro. Well, yo, plug your stuff. Where can people find you?
So I try to make this pretty easy. Musicproducerbook.com is how you get my book. I'm shutting down CurtisKingBeats.com actually, so that's not even something I wanted to. I usually say that, but Curtis King Beats is not that. What is really the biggest focus for me is find me on the socials at Curtis King with 2 S's, and slapexperts.com is my primary focus, providing sounds for aspiring producers, not just in hip hop, but of any genre, providing you sounds that you could just plug and play and put you in a better position to get your placements, put you in a better position to get the sounds that you want to look for, right? So I'm having fun as a sound designer in this space, but slapexperts.com is the website. Should I think the book? Obviously, I got the podcast, the Curtis King podcast, the Curtis King TV, YouTube. But yeah, you find one of those, I'll lead you to the other ones.
Yo, I like that. I love that. Yeah.
So
just find one.
At Curtis King on Instagram. I'll lead you everywhere else. I got you.
Absolutely. Yo, man, I need you to leave today knowing how much I truly appreciate you taking your time. I mean
not
that
a problem.
For real. You're one of the baddest motherfuckers I'm aware of. I mean that with all my heart.
Thank you, bro.
Like, I genuinely thank you for the years of inspiration and motivation, whether or not you even knew you were doing it, you were. And if no one else thanks you, just know that you've made an impact, and I truly appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate those words. I truly do. And nothing but the utmost respect to you for, I feel like you transitioned what you were doing in so many different ways that I feel like leveled up what our scene was expected, right? When I seen you get into photography, and when I, because I kind of like, once you wrote that article, I kind of like peeped from a distance, sort of, okay, this is what he's doing at this point in time. And you, even writing that article at that point in time, speaking to the culture, making a think piece of something that wasn't a clickbait for everybody.
Right.
Making that for an area makes another kid coming up say, fuck Curtis King and forget whoever's writing this. I want to write about this. Like doing those kind of things, like really push the culture forward and create people. Like I was thinking about this on the way up here. I was like, one of the most beautiful things that hip hop does is not produce more hip hop artists and more hip hop producers. It helps human beings, first of all, break out of their shell. It's a medium for them to break out of the shell. And 2, it helps lead them to what they really, really want to do. Yeah. But I feel like hip hop is the vehicle for people to do that. Like, somebody can come in here as a rapper and realize I do a lot better when I'm just managing. Yeah. And then they become a great manager of an artist, but then they eventually say, you know what? I think that I could manage this company. And if it wasn't for their involvement in hip hop, would they have ever gotten there? So much props to you for pushing the raising the bar for us all, man. I think that's super dope.
That means the world coming from you, man. I appreciate you saying that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, say one thing for me. I have everyone say it. Say the devil is a motherfucking lie.
The devil is a motherfucking lie.
Yo, I'm gonna need you to not say it cooler than I say it. I was trying
the devil is a motherfucking lie.
There you go. Like, that's the one I'm gonna use.
There you go.
My man. Thank you so much, brother. All love.
Yeah. All love.
Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share it with a friend or 6 if you think they'll enjoy it as well. You can find this podcast on all major platforms. That's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Music, Spotify. You know how this works. So go ahead and find it on your preferred platform. Subscribe, share, leave a 5-star rating, all the podcast things, and do so knowing that it is very much appreciated. This podcast is filmed and recorded at Playmaker Studio right here in Los Angeles, California. Want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Illuminidal. If you want want candles like this, go to illuminidol.com. That's ILLUMINIDOL.com. At checkout, enter the code OTWD to get yourself 20% off. One more time for the broke people way up in the cheap seats, that code is OTWD. Enter that at checkout and you'll save yourself 20% on your entire purchase. You can find more at onthewaydown.net and follow this podcast on Instagram at OTWD Podcast. Thank you to Illuminidol and thank you for watching. The devil is a motherfucking lie.